Okay. Now we're live. My bad.
Was it like last time where you forgot to hit the
Yeah,
last
yeah, yeah,
button?
yeah. Because it didn't let me hit the button, but now it lets me hit the button, and I pressed it's live, so we should be live. Sorry, technical issues happened. I don't care. You know, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Of course, it has to happen the moment I want to. We have to start, and we're 10 minutes late. And that's just how it goes.
Well, we're 13 minutes late, but it's all
Why'd you have to be so specific, Luke? Why? Why?
right.
Why did you have to give me those extra 3 minutes to make me feel bad?
Sauce.
Look,
Sauce.
Discord wasn't working. Discord just decided that the app data was completely gone and confused, and so it wouldn't load the actual menu, and I had to go into the, system files, and I had to delete the app data, and then load Discord again, and then log in again, and finally we're here. So I hope that everything is fine now.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So hey, Luke, what's up? Here
Hello.
we are, back again. Back again. Back in
Guess
the
who's
old.
back?
Yeah.
Back again.
We're back in the old chairs. I'm here in
The old
Zagreb,
chairs.
Croatia. Luke's over there in the UK. Luke's wearing a really fitting shirt today.
Indeed. Got ourselves some
Fantastic. Look at
Wolverine.
that. Look at that 80s Wolverine magic right there.
70s. Well, it says 1975
Oh, okay. But
because
that's when he was
I had to look it up and find out why. And it's his first cameo
in
appearance
the
in
Hulk.
the Hulk thing.
Yeah.
But the illustration is not from then. This illustration is
Oh, that's a new
a,
one. That looks like
a more recent illustration of the
it looks
character.
like a Jim Lee, if you know what I'm talking
Might be.
about.
Don't know. I don't see. So there is a part of me that I mean, I guess I could look at the tag on the back, but I'm like, was this shirt a like bootleg? Maybe. I don't know.
Turlock is here. Hello, Turlock.
Hello.
The Force is with us all. He's great. Turlock is a fantastic guy. Fantastic.
Oh, great. Well, we apparently have 4 people watching, which is
That's
nice.
awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, welcome everybody. I don't know if anybody watched the Pirates thing we did like 2 weeks ago, but we had a great time being able to explain it in enough detail to be sufficient, I'd say. From a long time ago when me and Luke were but 13 years younger, and we had some great and fantastic ideas for the film industry that we had no connections with, but it was still fun, and it was great, and it was an educational experience in my opinion. I think looking back, it was just like, man, we really talked about storytelling and structuring and you know setups and payoffs and bringing ideas in, what's consistent, what's not. And I'd say that. What do you think, Luke?
I agree. I agree. I was just writing a tweet telling people that we were live, so I wasn't totally paying attention to what you were saying,
Great.
but I
That's
feel like I should agree.
fantastic. Yeah, that's usually my
Um,
job, not
no,
paying
yeah,
attention, but
we were young whippersnappers who were eager to fix the problems of the franchises that we loved so much,
yeah.
which is what got us on the pirate kick and then moved us on to X-Men. Did I
X-Men.
ever tell you that I tried to do it with Spider-Man as well?
No, this is first time I've heard this.
Okay, yeah. That's what really kicked it off for me was Spider-Man 3 was so disappointing for me. There's like 60-70% stuff of Spider-Man 3 that I do like. That I'm like, this is good. I like what you're
Yeah,
doing.
no, like
But
a
then
lot of.
like
Yeah,
there
go on. Sorry.
yeah, then there's like 30% of just pure
Madness,
cheesy stupidness,
madness, madness,
madness. Madness. And I
madness.
just came out of that thinking that was not the conclusion I wanted for Mary Jane and Peter. That was not what I wanted out of a Spider-Man. No, what I
Oh,
wanted out of
come
a
on.
Venom story. Not what I didn't care about Sandman. I just was, yeah. And so I took a crack at trying to write a Spider-Man 4 that would have featured, I think it would have featured like Electro and Vulture, which ironically were the ones that Sam Raimi was talking about
A lot
doing.
of overlap.
Yeah. Um, but then I mean, I'm picking predictable villains, I think. So it's not
Maybe.
like I'm a genius. but if someone wants to call me a genius, I won't deny it.
Turlock says this better be better than X-Men Origins.
Oh, buddy boy. Oof.
Which you first thought was X-Men 4 when you saw the trailer. Ooh.
Did we?
I don't know. No, they like Turlock thought that it was X-Men 4 when he saw the trailer. I don't know how you can make that if it says Origins on it, but you know. That's just
Say
how
again.
it be. I don't know how you can make that assumption if it says Origins on it.
Yeah, no, Origins implies a prequel. You know, it's someone's. Yeah, it
With
implies that
Deadpool.
you're not going to be moving forward. You're looking to
Yeah.
the past.
Yeah.
I guess you could have a crisscrossy future, present, and
Oh yeah, you
past
could do flashbacks,
thing,
flash
but
forwards. You could do a
yeah,
Godfather 2, pretty
you
much.
could do a Godfather.
I
You
would
could do
love a
Godfather.
Godfather 2 with X-Men. I think that would be great. I mean, not the movie Godfather, but just the structure they used. I think that would have been cool. Because X-Men
Yep.
is long, like its history is long enough that you can create different eras. Like I think First Class nailed it really well with the 60s
Oh yeah.
and going back to that era, which I always feel like Fantastic Four should be
Yes.
happening that way.
It's funny that because you've always said that, and
I
it's really
did.
interesting that lately, like I've heard other people, like Chris Gore from Film Threat, literally say that, Fantastic Four should be a period piece. And I'm like, Phil's been saying this for like
13
two
years?
decades.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I feel good. I feel very vindicated. I am selfish. I am wrong. I am right. I swear I'm right. Come on,
Good
man.
song though.
Okay.
That's a good song.
I never liked that song, but
Really?
I was
Okay,
I hate saying this,
'cause
but I was more of a and they say that a hero can save us. I'm not
So-
gonna stand here and wait.
Okay, here's what's interesting. I know we're meant to be talking about X-Men, but we'll get through the Spider-Man thing first.
Okay.
But so I loved Hero when that first came out. I was a douchey 12-year-old or something thereabouts when Spider-Man 1 came out, maybe 13,
14.
and I was like Chad Kroger or Krieger, whatever the frick his name is.
Yeah, I think
And
we're
that
all-
other guy. I love this song. It's so tough. And then of course when Spider-Man 2 came out, I really wasn't a big fan of Train with like Calling All Angels and stuff like that. Like I kind of thought they were like kind of cheesy, silly. I don't know. They didn't do it for me.
Okay.
But as I've gotten older, I'm like I've grown to realize that the Hero song is pure cheese. But
What, you just don't believe that
Ordinary.
you're so high you can see heaven?
right.
But heaven.
And
Oh no, heaven.
go on.
Don't hear me.
They don't. But then I've come to find that Ordinary, because for some reason the past like 6 months I've been listening to it a lot. Ordinary,
Yeah.
which is the Train song,
Sure.
and I'm like, no, this is actually a really good song.
Mhm.
And I like what's the Killer's song for Spider-Man 3? Move Away or Move Along?
I
or
never
Move...
listened to the soundtrack. I only listened to the score.
Okay, so the soundtrack for Spider-Man 3 does have some good stuff on it.
Some bangers.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
The Killer's song for Spider-Man 3 is a good one. Does the chat agree with me?
Does the Chad Kroger agree with you?
Does the Chad Kroger agree?
He's
with me?
looking down from heaven. Well, I mean, he's still alive, but like, it's an
I'm
analogy I
glad-
was making.
I'm glad that X-Men.
Yeah, let's
To
go
my
back to
knowledge-
X-Men. Let's do it. Come on.
I'm glad that X-Men never really had
The soundtrack.
soundtracks until X-Men First Class.
Did it?
Yes, because they had what's the famous Westlife guys? And it's a British boy band from like the 90s who just never stop. And they're still kind of maybe going, or they were still around when X-Men First Class came out. and they were given like the song for the movie, and I thought you couldn't pick a more ill-suited artist if you tried. Because if you listen to the trailer, there's at the credits at the end, there's a song, and it's from them, and it's just a bit
Naff.
yeah.
To use a
Yes.
word I've never used before.
Naff.
Yeah.
It was naff.
Yeah. No,
Naff
you can't talk to me about any like popular music because I don't know anything. I'm like such a blank slate on these things, you know.
That's all right.
Like it took me a long time to realize when you were saying "Ordinary" that it was that song "Vindicated." I just realized that you were talking about that because I had no idea. I don't have any idea at all. I was a kid who listened to orchestral scores since I was 7. You know.
Okay.
I had the occasional Space Jam, you know, and the occasional other kinds of, you know, soundtracks that had artists in it. At one point, I thought Green Day, who were on the soundtrack for Godzilla '98, I thought that was the title of the track because Godzilla is green and it's a Green Day because he's so big. So
Amazing.
that's where I'm coming from.
That's perfect.
Turlock was only 11 during Origins. We have to keep in mind sometimes that we're not as young as we could still think that we are. I keep forgetting about these things. You know, there's these kids now that they're adults. They're functioning human, you know, like professional adults. And
Professional humans.
yeah, I know. They're professional humans. And yet they went to watch Iron Man when they were, you know, 8. You know what I mean?
Jeez, that is
Right?
that is mental to me. That's mental.
Because I was 19.
Yes.
So we got some new stuff. Okay, let's go to X-Men. Come on, let's do this.
Yeah, I would have been 20. Yeah.
Jeez. Or if you prefer, ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum. That's the original X-Men 1 Michael Kamen score.
It is. So, interesting thing about the X-Men themes, I'm fine with the first one.
First one's
The
great.
second one is the best.
Hands down. The best.
It just really feels like that is the X-Men's theme.
I fell in love with it.
And I listened to it today.
I listen to it all the
I
time.
do like the music to X-Men 3.
It's fine. It's great. James Newton.
And
James
the
Newton,
theme is good.
John Powell did a good job. I never liked the theme, but it's a good replacement. It's an okay replacement.
They reuse the same theme.
I don't know. Is it because you have to credit John Ottman and maybe he has to get some little subsidy, some kind of percentage of the soundtrack? Or is it because he just didn't want, or because John Powell wanted to do his own thing, or because Brett the Rat Ratner wanted just a new theme, or someone just wanted something new from it? Because I don't know how this stuff works, but I always felt like it was a very lazy theme because it sounds lazy. Ba ba bum 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 ba 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 ba. Anyway, okay, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Okay, so X-Men 1, watched it on VHS first time. Can you believe that? Watched it on VHS the first time. Watched it as kids in the 90s. When I was a kid, thought Wolverine was.
What did you watch in the 90s?
The cartoon.
Oh, the cartoon. Okay.
The 90s cartoon. I thought that Wolverine was called X-Man.
Oh.
I didn't know his name was Wolverine until I, saw a box, and then I asked my dad, "What does this say?" And he said Wolverine, and I'm like, "That's his name? I thought it was X-Man."
So why did you think it was X-Men?
Because he had like the claws, and he would make the X with the claws, and he had the stripes, and it reminded me of an X, and like his little mask had this like kind of like angular shape to it. So, and also I was 5, so.
Oh, right, 5. Okay, right, okay.
Oh,
that's
Turlock knows about this. John Williams rejected score to X-Men. I'm not sure if I think John Williams was asked to do it. I don't know what that was. There was something about John Williams being attached to X-Men 1 to do the score. And also Michael Kamen wanting to do... He actually did a whole score, the score for the theme, the suite for X-Men 1, and he went to show it because he was so enthusiastic about it. Said it was one of his finest works, and it was akin to John Williams' Superman, sort of like really bombastic and adventurous, because he's very good at that. He did, Prince of Thieves. That's right. Everyone knows like how robust that is. And he also Die Hard. He did
Mm.
a lot of John McTiernan films. Being Die Hard. I'm running out of things to say. He did Last Action Hero. Mwah. And yeah, he's very good. He's a very romantic composer. And then when he did X-Men 1, he made this orchestral, bombastic, Superman-esque score, which was rejected because they wanted something dark. They were just like, we want something dark. We want something like more edgy. And,
Interesting.
And we never got to hear that. It's still not around. Like, that's a legendary, like, rejected score that has never been released. And I would love to hear it, but it's not.
Yeah, this is a shame. I would listen to that.
I want to hear because if he was that passionate about it, why not? But so then he did the one that we have in the first one. Okay, and so anyway, we're here today.
I don't think I would have. I mean, this is big hypothetical. No proof to back this up. I'm glad John Williams didn't do it.
Yeah. He made his mark
I'm not
on so many other facets.
Well, he has. I feel like he peaked
Peaked.
70 years ago.
Wow.
I mean, like the guy was good with Star Wars and Jaws, and I guess
I don't
E.T.
agree, but okay. I think he was always good. It's just.
I mean, I guess he's always good, but like, I mean, did he do Indiana Jones? He did Indiana Jones,
yeah,
didn't he?
He did.
You know,
all the way to 4, yeah.
Like what? Okay, after the 80s, what has he done that's been like?
Like that's been like something that you were like.
That's iconic.
When someone says do Jurassic Park and they go da na 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 na. So like yeah, I mean I think that just because John Williams has like very closely been working with Steven Spielberg on his films, and I think that most of Spielberg's films now are very. Oh, I don't
terrible.
know. I wouldn't say terrible. I would just say kind of like more. Not introverted, but like introspective, and they're not the adventure movies.
Ready Player One.
Oof. I think Alan Silvestri did that. He did not John Williams. Interestingly enough.
All right. Oh wait. So do you mean John Williams is more introspective, not?
Well, it's just a reflection of Spielberg's movies now, because like you know what he's doing, like Bridge of Spies, and you know what he did. What now? West Side Story.
West Side Story. Yeah.
Look at me, East Side Story. Yo, it's East Side Story.
East Side Story.
So I think that the music just follows suit. I don't think that there's any like need to have like these themes. And also John Williams is brought back to do some Star Wars now and again. With Obi-Wan.
He did Obi-Wan.
Yeah, which is the only thing that I was humming for a while, and I was just like, I can't believe I'm actually humming this. This is actually like.
What's the theme?
I don't remember it, but if I do, then I'll start humming it all the time. We're not talking about X-Men, Luke.
No, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're giving people time to arrive.
Hopefully. I mean, I would love to retweet, but my computers are all now like occupied with a stream. Can't use my phone. I can only use my iPad.
Maybe Twitter's algorithm, not Twitter. Maybe YouTube's algorithm will get funky if we like start talking about. Batgirl has been canceled.
Dude, Batgirl has been canceled? No.
Batgirl has been canceled.
Oh no. Sad. What am I gonna do? It was my dream. Like zoinks, what am I gonna do? That's so sad.
Oh yeah, and Scooby-Doo has been canceled. We'll talk about that
over there in the Warner Brothers camp. Some strange things are afoot.
Chaos.
There's been queer folks abroad.
So X-Men.
Yes.
So we saw X-Men 3 at different times.
X-Men.
Because I didn't really know you in 2006 when it came out.
Turlock said that Williams was up for X-Men but had scheduling issues because he signed up for the Harry Potter films and Star Wars prequels.
I was gonna say Harry Potter. I was thinking like Harry Potter might have been a factor because that was around the same time.
Yeah, and also it's interesting that John Williams would have been fine doing X-Men. And it's interesting because he's not done a lot of things for other kinds of movies per se, unless people actually asked him. And I think that a lot of people are just too intimidated to ask him, because that's exactly how Chris Columbus asked him for Home Alone. He didn't know who, like, they didn't know each other. He just went, who's the best composer I know of? John Williams. And I'm just asking him, look, here's their little kids movie that we made. Would you want to make this Christmas movie, like, do the score? And he's like, yeah, sounds great. And it's like, you just have to ask the man. But I think that a lot of people just don't do that, because even in the film industry, they're just intimidated by, you know, the legend that is John Williams, I guess.
Well, he's like
90.
the guy who never dies. He's been around since like the beginning of time.
Yeah. Been doing jazz in the 60s.
Like, it's just like,
Lost
man,
in
how?
Okay, sorry. Let's
X-Men.
yeah.
X-Men 3 happened.
I happened to visit the set of X-Men 3.
Tell us about that.
It was a blistery autumn morning in Vancouver, Canada. I was one of the, 7 alumni people on this trip. I was 16 years old. I was the youngest person to be an alumni for that film school that I went to. And we were very privileged to be able to know the producer, Ralph Winter, who produced X1 and produced a bunch of Star Trek movies, and X2 and Fantastic Four, which I also was on the set of. And and so we were able to go to visit the set for a day to Vancouver. We went to this wonderful park, which was very cinematic. And as we approached that park, it was foggy. How was it foggy? Because they brought the fog machines. They brought all those fog machines to illuminate the scene in X-Men 3 where Magneto has this speech to the Brotherhood of Mutants at the campsite. And I will forever keep talking about this, even if the movie sucks and I don't like it, that you watch that wide shot of him going, they wish to cure us, but I say we are the cure. I am literally there on the side. The camera doesn't see me, but I am there. I am physically there. And I find that kind of mind-blowing, to be honest. Like, it's forever, even if I'm not even there, it just feels kind of strange that I was there when they were filming it. And there's like a piece of, like, there's a shot in a movie where I can tell you that I was there. I don't know what that's all about, but like for me it's just a special thing.
No, I get that, because I can relate to that with Captain America, the first Avenger, because the scene where he busts out of, after he's been transformed into Captain America, and there's a big shootout and he runs outside. The exterior, that street, that's doubling for a New York street, was actually in Manchester.
That's right.
UK. Where I was studying theology at the time. And I was there the day that they had that scene where he goes running down the street and the car blows up and Peggy runs out. So I can relate. I don't love Captain America the First Avenger, but I'm like, hey, I was there. That's kind of cool.
Were you there when they were shooting, or were you just there?
Yes.
You were there when they were shooting. So were there any explosions in cars, like just flipping up? Wow, nice.
So what's funny is because I studied the street and how they designed it, anytime I watch the first Avenger, and they're in the car driving to the location, driving to where they're going to do the experiment on him, I'm paying attention outside because the stuff that's going past is on a loop. And I'm like, wait, that's that building. Wait, those boxes. Wait, you're just going. This is a loop. You're not going in a street.
Wow.
You're just going in a loop.
That's hilarious. I think only someone like you would know this thing. That's funny.
Probably.
Like,
and Sherlock. I was there. I saw a few things of Sherlock be filmed.
Nice. Nice.
So I fully understand.
Yeah, KJ, that's right. I was there. It was pretty cool. Yeah, so I know what you mean. Like, I just had I just had people, talking in my scene when I was there. But it was still fun because, you had Sir Ian McKellen, you had Famke Janssen.
Good scene.
Yeah, I was very lucky that we got that instead of just like some insert that they had like a
Instead of
they had a
I'm
stand-in.
in.
Oh, can you imagine being in that one? Oh gosh.
What did they call you? I'm the Juggernaut. Wow.
Bitch. That's what he said. That's a key word there.
Cool.
I don't want to get into any details, but they also
Yeah.
Ralph Winter took us on a tour of like the studios that they were filming in, his Vancouver studios, and I was able to be. They weren't filming on it, but I was in the X-Men hallway. You know.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
That was cool. The only downside of that is that it wasn't lit, so it was just kind of dark.
Right.
It's like, oh, there's the X-Men, and I touched the Welcome Professor gate, and I was like, is it real metal? And it was. It was like
It was nice.
brushed. It was a nice brushed aluminium, like I said aluminium like a British person.
It was antimantium.
Yeah,
bet
I should have narrated soundscape that scene. They wish to cure us, but I say we are the cure. So I met Ian McKellen, and he came over with a pizza he was eating, and he just went, "How you doing?" And I didn't say anything because I'm a stupid 16-year-old. Because I thought that like the security would come and say, "You can't talk to the man. Get out of here." Ridiculous. Anyway, that's what you do when you're a teenager. So yeah, X-Men 3 came out, and I remember being excited because I was on the set of that, and I would like to see the movie. I even proposed some posters that I designed for X-Men 3. I was like, look, it's gonna be red, and it's gonna have like the Phoenix on it. And then Ralph Winter looked at it and said, but we already have posters.
Well, Ralph, your poster sucked.
Yeah.
Just like your film.
And
really-
I wanted to say
Yeah.
one more thing. This I never told anybody this, but we were also in the production office. So that's like they call it the circus in Canada and Britain, but in America it's called base camp.
Mhm.
And that's where they set up shop to produce the movie, right? So that's where you come in to get all your meetings, and and they put all those concept paintings and stuff like that on the walls. You remember like in behind the scenes they have like those concept they have like this wall of concept art everywhere. And and it's so funny because no one cared, but we were there and we didn't see the movie clearly because they were filming it. But there's like a whole row of gravestones. It says Charles Xavier. It's Charles Xavier's gravestone, and we're just like, oh, he dies in the movie. I see, yeah.
It's interesting because, like, if you think about how like obnoxiously secretive films are today,
Yeah.
like you would have had to have signed an NDA. You would not have been able
We
to
didn't sign anything.
like
Yeah.
they would have actually had that on display somewhere for people to see anyway. Like I
Right?
do sort of get annoyed by how like they try and make these things so precious, and it's like if I know that someone dies, if it's a good story, I'm still going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So spoilers don't really spoil anything for me.
No, not if the story is good. Yeah, if it holds up, it's like that's not relevant. It's probably it helps. It's like putting hot sauce on your burger, but
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But it's like, yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, I did see those like headstones, and I think I remember clearly seeing the Charles Xavier one that they were painting for the concept art. It's very funny. I was in the X-Jet too.
X-Men 3 was the first X-Men movie I saw in the cinema.
Wow, really?
I didn't even see the first two X-Men movies until I want to say like circa 2005.
Wow.
Because I wasn't really allowed to see them.
Interesting.
Because I grew up in a very conservative home that thought the X-Men were evil.
Oh, so the X-Men are evil too.
Yeah. So when the movies came out, it was like, well, I'm never going to be able to see that until I'm a grown-ass adult. Even though I really wanted to. And I was really roped. I was really like, I mean, I would always sneak and watch the cartoons stuff like that when I was a kid. So I had plenty of X-Men fill when I was a youngin. Because I just did everything behind my parents' back. Lol. Yeah, so I was always super intrigued. But yeah, so I was really excited for X-Men 3 because it was the first one I was seeing in the cinema. And I was like, oh my God, like, what are they going to do with Jean? How's this going to, oh my goodness,
She's
can't
back,
wait. Phoenix storyline is great. You know, they're obviously not going to go to space, but I'm still interested to see what they do with this.
Little did you know, 2019 would
Little did
roll
I
around.
fucking know that these sons of bitches. I am so bummed that it's such a bummer that even though Bryan Singer is allegedly a creep,
Yeah.
that he didn't do X-Men 3 and went and did
Superman Returns,
Superman
baby.
Returns, which was very bad. I tried to watch it within the last year. I tried to watch Superman Returns, and I was like, it's full of a lot of interesting stuff, but in an uninteresting film.
Yeah. The film itself is difficult to watch. In a way,
too long.
yeah, in a way where it just doesn't keep your attention very well with a lot of the storylines that happen.
No. And of course I was bummed because Cyclops,
James Marsden
wasn't in X-Men 3 as much because he was committed to Superman with
living legend
Bryan
James
Singer.
Marsden. Yep.
And it's like, and yeah, so I remember seeing X-Men 3 and I sort of was telling myself that it was good because I didn't want to admit that it was bad.
Right. Well, when I left the movie theater, I was just like,
Yeah. I wanted it to be good so bad that I was doing what Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans do now. And it is just convince yourself that what you saw was great.
Right.
Because you were so hungry for something new.
Right.
Then I grew the fuck up. And so yeah, I was so bummed. After a while, I just sort of thought, actually, I hate that they killed Scott like that. I hate that they killed Xavier. I hate that Moira McTaggart was pointless. I hate that Phoenix was just randy. She was just really horny. I hated the Cure. I hated that Rogue took the Cure. I hated Rogue's role was stupid. I hated Angel. I hated he was so
Angel
flat.
has one scene where he interacts with any of the X-Men. And that is it.
Yes. You know, and he's not there in the finale in the big fight. And I always got angry because he's in costume on the poster.
Yeah, he is.
And it's like, you know, I wanted to see Angel. You know, the best thing about X-Men 3 was the casting of Beast and the casting of Kitty Pryde. That's it. Like, at the end of the day, when I finally grew up and was like, actually, when I watch X-Men 1 and 2 and then watch it's just sloppy. It's just sloppy.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all.
And I was so bummed. Over time, I realized how bummed I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what would I do if I were to do an X-Men 4? While at the same time, you were like, what would I do with X-Men 4?
That's also true. And this was like 2009, 2008. Somewhere around late 2008, early 2009.
It was before I went to uni because we were doing Pirates.
Yeah.
We were doing Pirates, but we
right.
also were doing X-Men at the same time.
That's true.
I think we gave X-Men way more attention when I moved
later
to the UK.
on. Yeah.
But we started X-Men around the same time as Pirates.
I do remember how it kind of developed because like we knew each other vaguely, like, you know, through
Evan Brown.
other friends, and Evan Brown, and usually Becca. I think Becca was like the glue.
No, Becca didn't. No, it was Evan.
Oh, it was Evan. Okay, I guess.
Because I was in a band with him, and we would play in his house.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. And I just wanted to, like, before we even start, we got to start. How long has it been already? Half an hour?
Doesn't matter.
I know. I don't know. I'm just, hey, you know, I'm trying to make it concise sometimes, you know. Sometimes. We're fine. No, I wanted to say like our backgrounds for like on X-Men. Yes. Like I said, it was around when I was a kid. I thought that Wolverine was X-Man. I got the little toys that have like the little film you put in, and they have a projector coming out
Oh,
of their
yeah,
chest.
Spider-Man like that.
Yeah, I had Wolverine, and I still think I have Wolverine somewhere, and Apocalypse, but I didn't know who Apocalypse was back then.
Oh,
Really.
cool.
Yeah, Jake got Apocalypse. I got X-Man, and yeah, and then when I watched the films, I loved them, So
Yes.
I watched X-Men 2 in cinemas, and I went with my dad and my uncle and Jake, my brother, and yeah, there's something magical about it that I can't explain. The way it was shot, the way it was paced, the characters, their conflicts, the conflict in the story itself. The production design, the cinematography, everything put together. The fact that it was filmed in Vancouver, Canada, which is somewhat of a funny thing to say, but like maybe it's the tie-in that I had with going there to Vancouver when they were filming and listening to the soundtrack when we were going to the film set and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
All those pine trees, and it felt like I was in the world of the X-Men, and I loved it. So, but I've never really read the comics. At all, and I don't know any, and the only reason I know all of this X-Men lore is because of the big giant DK Marvel encyclopedias that I used to rent at the library, and I used to pore over and be like, what's this character? Who is Onslaught? What the hell is this Clone Saga and Spider-Man? And then there's like, what about like what Xavier dies and then he comes back and then he gets cloned, and it's like it's all this sort of, and then Weapon X, like what is that? All this sort of stuff I've just learned by reading encyclopedias when I was younger. But I've never read any of the comics. And now I know a lot about like the Phoenix Saga. I watched videos about it, but I've never actually opened a comic book and actually read those things.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, you were coming at it from that point of view, whereas I wasn't, like I said, I really wasn't reading the comics when we were doing this, per se. But I had digested so much X-Men as a kid, stealthily, by watching the cartoons, getting my hands on what little X-Men stuff I could from time to time, and then obviously loving the film and having friends who knew stuff and had stuff. So it's kind of like I knew the basics, and by the time we were doing stuff, I was finally getting more into like reading the comics, acquiring the comics, having a better understanding of the stories in general, and then when and I liked that the X-Men movies weren't trying to adapt a specific storyline. They were cherry picking.
Yeah.
And I always felt that made the best comic book movies, is when you're kind of cherry picking. Like the Spider-Man movies do that.
Mm-hmm.
The X-Men movies do that. Some Superman, Batman.
Yeah, Superman, Batman.
They do that. The problem is, and this, I love the fact that they were cherry picking, and there wasn't X-Men, title Apocalypse. Because you are watching an X-Men movie that might with some of these themes, but when you slap a title like Apocalypse on there, you're sort of thinking, I know this storyline.
Mm-hmm.
How is this? I want to see that storyline now.
But then when you're translating,
I was gonna say, this is why I don't really like some of the Marvel movies, which that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah,
but something like Civil War, I'm like, whoa, you just slapped Civil War on this thing, and you have made it nothing like Civil War. That's not cool.
Yeah, you made it kind of like, backyard skirmish.
Yes. So I like that. And I was not, that's why with X-Men 3 I wasn't expecting the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah.
But I was expecting some alternative take on the Phoenix in this more grounded X-Men world. Yeah. And I was excited for that.
Yeah, that's logical. Yeah.
I like the fact that the Phoenix was like, I did like that it was a persona that was inside of her and held down.
You mean not a space deity from 500 galaxies away?
Totally fine. Works for me. Yeah. So, like I said, that really didn't bother me. But it was just sort of the what's cherry picking? Cherry picking is it means like when you're taking little bits from different things. So like Spider-Man 2 has the Spider-Man No More elements because he, hangs up his coat.
That's a little story arc in the comics, right?
Yeah, but then you also have the Doctor Octopus stuff, and you also have the Harry becoming evil and turning towards the Green Goblin. This is what it means to cherry pick. Like, oh, I like this idea from this story. We'll adapt it for ours. I like this idea for this. X-Men 2 merges the Weapon X storyline for Wolverine with
God Loves Men Kills.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so therefore it's yeah, that's what that's
But
what
even
that's
like that's another good example because like God Loves Man Kills has oh wow, what's his name? Brian Cox.
Trask.
No.
Oh,
Stryker. It has Stryker in it, but Stryker is a completely different character in that arc, and it's a completely different kind of
Yeah,
message.
he's a minister.
Yeah, he's a minister, and it's quite different, right? So they just like that's the cherry picking aspect. Is you take Trask, but he's not exactly the same as that. You're putting him in a different story, but you're taking elements of that story and kind of merging it together with other elements.
Yeah. So I've always loved that about the
Yeah.
X-Men movies.
Yeah.
I was fine with that. When they tried to do
Iron Man
the
does that sort of, doesn't it?
yeah, when they tried to do the actual
Yeah, like,
we're gonna slap the comic book title on there, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, those aren't good.
yeah. There's certain ways that they're not good, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, so
yeah, you watched you read a
was-
lot of comics more than me anyway.
Yeah. So I liked all that kind of stuff, and I thought, okay, Brett Ratner just screwed the pooch on this X-Men 3. I couldn't understand how you could follow up X-Men 2 with something so bad.
It's pretty disappointing. I must admit I was very disappointed.
Indeed. So I was like, okay, well, like I said, now we're finally back to it. So it's like, what would we do to sort of fix this storyline? Because it's like
now I can change the slides finally. Here we go.
Oh yes,
it's slide changing time, baby.
Slide changing time.
Hey, look at it. Look at that. Beautiful. There's my little X-Men 4 logo. By the way, all these images are from 2010. 2009 to 2010.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I didn't do anything new. This is all from the old stuff.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
So we started talking because we were doing
we started talking at the Paramount lot, as you do, and between projects and stuff like that.
And we were like, okay, so we started talking about X-Men because X-Men was always my passion. Your passion for pirates was sort of my passion for X-Men.
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
I cared much more about X-Men than I did about Pirates of the Caribbean, as much as I love Pirates of the Caribbean.
But I love X-Men too. Like I love all that stuff about it, right? Like there's something that's something inside of me that's like I would love to make a movie of that because there's so much that I can not just relate to, but like that excites me about the about all those stories.
Excites me.
But yeah, Pirates was more my thing because I really wanted to film in Croatia. Because it would be such a good environment. Anyway, let's continue.
So we started thinking, okay, well, how are we going to do an X-Men 4? What's going to be
right?
Who are the what are the kind of the pitfalls of the other movies? Like, what characters have they kind of squandered? What characters would we like to see come into the story? Who would we like to see as a villain? I was very much done with Magneto by X-Men 3.
Magneto.
He was brilliant in X-Men 2. His role in X-Men 2 was spot on. But
1 as well, I'd say.
X-Men 1 and 2 are great, but it's like X-Men 3 just kind of felt like, come on,
just turned into
I'm
the
sick
big
of
bad.
hearing this. And you pitched the idea of Shadow King.
Yeah. This is how I do these things. You think that it's probably because, it's such a good story, it's like there's something that we can put in that will matter so much to the characters and have an effect. No, It's just he's my favorite villain. He's blue. He looks scary. I love it. That's it. That's how these things start. And then you push it, and it works sometimes. Sometimes it works. I feel like if you care about it enough, and if you just keep molding it more and more, and convincing people that it'll work, it'll start working. Rare moments that it doesn't, but like if you have the passion for it, I think that you can accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Let's go on.
So Shadow King was cool. It took me a bit of convincing because I was like, he's very psychic, very astro plane. How do we work with that? Is that really, we've never really seen Xavier fully fight.
Yeah.
In, he did a little bit of X-Men 2, but that was very much a D plot in that movie.
Jason, stop it.
What?
Jason, stop it.
Oh yeah, with Jason. Yeah, so but I think we got there in the end because I did like this. I did like the idea of the Shadow King is the very first mutant that Xavier encounters. This is in the comics. And
I wanted to say that we had such a good advantage because you had so much material you can draw from instead of having to invent these things yourself, like for Pirates, for example.
This is true. And it's almost to our detriment, though.
That's
because
another thing. It's a double-edged sword.
The amount of ideas, like Pirates, we don't have a super coherent story. We have an interesting outline, but we, like, going through some of this stuff today, I was like, we have way too much stuff in this story.
Yeah, there was a lot.
We have way too many characters.
No, we were looking at, like, I was looking at, like, the document that we shared, like, 13 years ago, and, like, there's a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that we, honestly, 100%, if you were to make a movie out of this, like, 70% of this stuff would be cut out, and, like, the rest of it would be expanded.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So...
Because we wanted two plots, two main plots. And the first plot is the Shadow King is the main villain. We wanted to kind of build off of X-Men 3 and have it so that in the wake of Jean Grey destroying Xavier's body, and in the process of him moving his mind into the other body,
because that happened at the end of the credits of X-Men 3, which is another principle that I always like to have, is that you don't change stuff from the first, like the previous movie, inherit what the previous movie did and make it better. That's what I always liked. I felt like that just made it better.
And yeah, so that incident was going to be the thing that triggers the kind of awakening of the Shadow King, because what has happened is Xavier has locked him in like a psychic prison, and he's trapped there, but in that state of moving from one mind into another from his body to another body, that becomes a bit weak, and he's able to sort of get out, and a bit sort of I guess a bit sort of like Stranger Things 2 where there's that little gross goopy thing that's kind of growing over time. He would kind of be
the gross goopy thing.
He would be a growing presence throughout the film that would culminate in being the main.
Yeah.
The main
it wouldn't start out that way. It would just be be a hint and a rumor, but like during the end of it becomes
which is
a much
fun because when you think about New Mutants, which was meant to be the big horror movie for X-Men.
Oh boy, I watched that recently.
Terrible, poor film. What's interesting is our X-Men 4 would have really been a proper horror film in certain aspects.
It had the potential to have certain stuff like that going on. Yeah, like I have slides. I have a lot of slides that I can go through, but yeah.
Yeah, what is the
So look, here's some concept art that I did back in 2010. Like there's a lot of little thumbnails with color and like cinematography looking stuff, just got some good keyframes from different parts of the movie that I found very interesting. But if you want to go to the beginning, like the next slide is basically Charles Xavier waking up from the hospital. So there it is. So
I love that. So basically the story would begin with a prologue that is really sort of the idea of a prologue is set up in X-Men 3
Yeah,
where we
yeah,
see young
yeah.
Jean.
I mean,
And
look, X-Men 1 had it too.
oh shit, yeah, I did. I don't know. I
Yeah,
completely spaced. Yeah, I don't know why completely forgot about that.
yeah,
Because I was thinking of young Xavier. So yeah, I guess in keeping with tradition, lol. Um, the prologue would set up. We would see young Professor Xavier. He's going to be in Cairo, Egypt, and he gets into this psychic battle with the Shadow King, who ultimately is destroyed by Xavier. Um, and Xavier like literally like destroys his body, and then
yeah,
locks his evil mind inside the
yeah.
like
So it
the
traps him
astral
in there,
plane
yeah,
sort
because
of
he's
thing.
way too dangerous. He was like the Shadow King in the comics. He was like a crime lord, right? Because he could do all these things with his mind, right? And his body is a very ugly looking man, inside and out, and then they would have that sort of psychic battle, and it would, and I remember in the original comic, when they had that battle, like one of them would just drop dead, and that would be it, but the epic
Yeah,
battle happens in the mind, but we just had the entire house get destroyed that they were battling in, and this is the first time he saw like an evil mutant. That was like the initial, that was like their little start to the movie, and that's how Xavier gets crippled in our explanation, in our continuity.
yes. I can't. Is that what we'd have to revisit that because I'm not sure if we could have kept that because it wouldn't connect with X-Men
Well, we had a
3.
ton of ideas, man. So
We did. That's right. We did. We had crippled, not crippled, re-crippled.
yeah, that's what you
Yeah,
do. Creative writing. That's how it goes.
isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah. And
So
so
yeah.
what you're
So
looking at here is like just some motion graphics that I made, and the last one, like when you look at after these, I just wanted to make it clear that's Xavier's kind of POV. The camera's behind Xavier's bald head, and then there's like a light shining in front of him, and he's taken to the emergency room. That's kind of the shot, just in case anyone's confused. Whoever's watching. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
yeah. So basically, what this is kind of sets up like what he's going to have to face
Yeah,
in the course of the movie.
pretty much.
So then we got Xavier waking up in the hospital. I guess sort of picking up where X-Men 3 left off
Yep.
at the very
There
end.
it is.
Go on.
There it is. It's there. It's on the screen.
Oh, right, right.
It will be
Um,
at least. It's a lag.
yeah. Um,
What did I mess up? What's happening?
no, I'm reading our document and we say Xavier transferred his conscious um into his vegan twin brother. We obviously it's a joke. We put a lot of jokes in our
I
document.
know. I think that
Um,
the older you get, the more you just don't have time for jokes because it's just wasting time. But yeah.
Yes. Which I'm like vegan. So see, yeah, so I love this. I love this like because we wanted to do this is one of those things where like we had so many ideas for characters. I really wanted to do something with Maura McTaggart
Yeah.
because she was so useless in X-Men 3 and she is a love story. She is a love interest for Xavier. I'm like that could be fun to explore. We should really tease some of that, I
Yeah, and
think.
we had the opportunity to get Xavier back thanks to X-Men 3. And his whole thing in this movie is that he comes back. He's better than ever. He walks this time
Yeah.
because he's got a new body. And we just took what X-Men 3 gave us, right? He went, "Hello, Moira," at the end of at X-Men 3, and that is essentially that is Xavier's voice. That is Xavier's body, more or less, like I think. And so
Yeah.
in the comics, he has a twin sister. And they said, Zach Penn, I think, on the commentary said that they changed. It's twin brother. Twin brother. He's alive now. Just takes over his twin brother that has been catatonic forever. And
Yeah.
let's run with it. When we ran with it, Xavier's back. It's very logical, and we decided to take that to kind of drive his character and what he's going to get into in the story, I think. And
Yeah.
I think that one of our biggest contributions to that we agreed on was like that Xavier would be like, it's all like at the beginning, it's all coming up Xavier, I think. Like he can walk, he's happier, he's feeling better than ever. His powers are even better now. He's like, man, I can read minds. I don't even need his Cerebro. I can read people's minds from outside. You know, stuff like that. Not that he doesn't need Cerebro, but you know what I mean. When you're happy, you want to say stuff like that. So that's kind of where we have Xavier starting out in this movie.
Yeah. And it's quite fun because it's like where we wanted to take his story was that he's on top of the world. He's alive. He's rejuvenated. And initially there is excitement about his return and all that kind of stuff. But slowly throughout the course of the story, that is slowly broken down.
Yeah.
Characters begin to severely question him in a way that is much stronger than what they did in X-Men 3 when Wolverine has like a momentary like,
oh yeah,
I don't know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
You know,
You have no idea.
yeah. And so that's what I think was going to be a really fun trajectory with Xavier was taking him on this journey of there was some dodgy shit that happened with Jean, but this is a fresh start. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try and make things right with everything. And in the course of doing that, he's going to come into a lot of problems. One of those problems being the character of Scott Summers.
Hey,
so
Scott. X-Men 4, 3. Scott Summers, Cyclops, fan favorite, the legend. Sorry.
Yep. X-Men 3 decided to disappear.
Disapparate. Cyclops. Yeah.
We never see a body. And when you never see a body, it opens the door for more possibilities. Yeah. You know, we saw Xavier's body explode, but we never saw Scott die. We saw his face go a little bit funny when Jean was just getting really horny and wanting to...
That's her trait in the movie. Yeah, that's the entire thing.
Be a man-eater. Ridiculous.
For all that entails.
Yeah. And so the idea that I think Phil, you came up with this idea that he would be...
I mean, look, it cut away, right? Like it cut away.
What?
Like in the movie, it cut away, so you wouldn't know, and we could make any story up we wanted. So it was natural that it was, remember she had those conflicts with Jean and Phoenix, and who's to say that she didn't have a conflicting moment there too? She didn't want to do that. Like, I can't, I don't want to kill him. Yes, we're gonna kill him. I don't want to. And then she can just do this, little outburst, tosses him away. She's so powerful, can't control her own strength. He falls into maybe he's in the lake, maybe he's outside of the lake, but whatever. He loses his memory conveniently and loses his abilities for a bit.
Yes. Yeah, so we were going to roll with that idea that Jean's sort of fuckery.
Yeah.
The best word for it. Her sort of fuckery with him was going to cripple his power and cripple his memory. And Xavier, during the events of X-Men 3, Xavier is very focused on Jean. He's not really focused, I think, on anything else. So the idea is that actually Scott's still out there, but Xavier doesn't know until he comes back to the X-Men mansion once he's rehabilitated. Comes to the X-Men mansion, revisits Cerebro in a kind of an interesting moment where he doesn't have to stand, where he doesn't have to sit, he can stand and puts the thing on. And when it powers up and he does a search, he then triggers and that Scott is actually out there, but that Scott doesn't know who he is. And
which explains why he never came back.
Yes,
that's the whole thing.
So instantly, Xavier and Wolverine, they go off to locate Scott, and they find him. He's working in an orphanage, which I quite like this idea because it's like the X-Men mansion in itself is already a sort of an orphanage.
Yeah.
It's this sort of home for wayward souls, and I like that Scott still found himself in some sort of environment where he's still working with outcasts and stuff
Yeah.
while he is still an outcast even though he doesn't know that he's a mutant at the moment. Like I just thought that was a fun idea. Um so that yeah, Xavier comes and there's this moment where Wolverine's a bit like this is a bit weird. I don't know how we're gonna handle this.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, we need to. Do you want to talk real quick about how Wolverine is being like added into this, because he's been like a main character for the past 3 movies, and now we're kind of put him aside a little bit. He's not that he's a background character, but more that he's kind of like a side player in this story that doesn't involve him as much as it did before.
The central story, obviously X-Men 1 and 2, the central story focuses on Wolverine. He is our introduction into this world. We follow him into the X-Men world. Da, 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 da. X-Men 3, James Marsden isn't in the movie, so we need a star anyway. So
Yeah.
we got Wolverine. But yeah, so with this one, we wanted the focus to be the A story really is about Xavier and
Scott.
Cyclops and Scott,
Cyclops, yeah.
and sort of a fractured father-son relationship. I think we wanted to give Scott just a little bit more agency because he was fine in 1 and 2, not really there in 3, and he always felt just a little bit underdeveloped. Right,
all the time, and it's so weird because like fans love Cyclops. He's a huge character. There's also like our friend Anthony, who's Anthony Vlogs. Wherever he is, if only you've been watching, we were just gonna sing Cyclops praises. He loves Cyclops. There's so many people who do, and Cyclops has never had his time to shine or his time in the spotlight at all, being the leader of the X-Men, and the fact that never happened is kind of a travesty to a certain extent. And I'm not a big fan of Cyclops myself. Like I prefer Wolverine, but it's like, why not? Cyclops is as important an aspect to the iconography of X-Men as Wolverine, or like you could say Storm. I don't know what other big characters are there as well that would handle it. Magneto. So it only seemed natural to bring him back, especially since you could, without being too cheesy about it.
No, it's very true, and so I like that, and Wolverine has his own face in this movie. He's not he's not sidelined entirely,
like Cyclops
which I like.
in the other movies.
Yeah. He still has. He is kind of in charge of the B storyline, and there's sort of equal time. It's I would almost compare it to like the first Avengers movie, where Iron Man and Captain America both are pretty much equal when it comes to their screen time and things to do. That's probably the best kind of example of what this would have looked like. They both would have been strong presence in the film, but we just would have finally developed Scott way more than what was done in the others.
No, yeah. He'd be more or less the main character.
Yeah. So what's also fun? So we bring Scott back. So Xavier finds Scott.
But what's his reaction?
Snaps it back.
What's Scott's reaction when he finds when Xavier finds him? How does this go down, Luke?
Well, not well. Xavier just sort of jumps the gun, and after a brief conversation, just snaps Scott's mind back to who he was, reminds him, fixes him. Except he isn't unable to fix Scott's laser eyes. And when it happens, the reaction you think is that Scott's going to be happy. He's back. He's back to who he was.
Oh, my friends. I love you guys. Logan.
Yes, but
I hope you filled that up. Filled up my bike.
Yes. But, obviously he's not, because last time we saw Scott, he was broken over Jean's death. Fair. Also, he then experienced the traumatic event of witnessing his supposedly dead love of his life, um, who then also tried to kill him, and now she is
Actually dead.
dead again for real, realsies this time.
Yeah, it's great.
And so he is awoken uh into a world that is just even worse than what he left behind, and he's furious with Xavier for bringing him back. But at the same time, having been brought back, he's like, there's nowhere else that I can really go now. I can't stay here with, he decides to go back to the X-Men mansion.
Eventually, like later on, in a couple of scenes later, he does come back. Like you know what I mean, like the what do you call it? The brooding, sort of like high school kid that comes back to school. You know what I mean? He has his backpack and everything.
And I think the trigger that was meant to send him back was an incident that happens at the airport.
Oh, we got to talk about that. That's our opening scene, pretty much. It's after the Shadow King prologue, and then it's like the kind of that kind of opening that very similar to X-Men 2, where it was the White House thing. Like it's kind of like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's a scene at the airport, which this is where the movie actually kind of starts. And it involves a brother and sister checking in the gate. And I don't know about you, this is what made me want to have a scene like this, because I hate going through airport check-ins and them checking your passport and then asking you questions and and then going through security. Doesn't matter how innocent I am, which I am. I'm an innocent man. We hope just innocent men. It's always been extremely like just unpleasant. And so I was like, I want to make a movie where I can, display my fear to the world. So this is it. This is like the beginning, and these brother and sister getting into the U.S. from England, going through the motions with the security check-in and like the border and the passport and stuff like that. But tension rises because there's something weird going on where they keep getting these looks. They look around, and this brother and sister, one of them, like especially when little bit of we want to add a little bit of relevance here, where one of them says like, you're brother and sister, but you don't look alike at all. Whatever. So then they notice, she and him kind of notice security people talking around them a lot, looking at them, eyeing them, and then after this lady at the desk notices something on the monitor, they tell him to move aside somewhere, and then it's all very odd because there's more security coming in at once, and then they there would be dialogue about them talking about these things happening, and then it just gets even worse when more security comes in, and like an actual kind of like almost a lockdown of the entire airport happens to those two, and they have no idea why, and it's scary. And then she's like, she's panicking, she's stressing out, and he's telling her, don't, like, I know you can't control it yet, but don't do it, and then we have this scene where she just can't take it anymore because they've actually been through this once before, not as bad, but they know that they're leaving to be safe somewhere because of something that's been happening to them. And let me try to find the shot. Here we are. Yay, I found it. It's and then security's very rude to them. Let's just put it that way. And they're already found out, and she has to run away, and she does. And it's scary because we don't know what's going on, but they're aiming to kill this time. And,
yes.
And there's this wonderful little action scene, very tense action scene moment that happens throughout.
But as the image is depicting. The depicting image there is the big giveaway, is that in the airport she has this massive psychic burst.
Yeah. Sorry, I was a little too vague there.
Yeah, it's so vague. Yeah. So so the point of the pressure of the airport is that, it's building up. She then explodes, throws people back, causes a lot of chaos. She is now, she's on the run for her life because she is afraid of what will happen if she is taken in by the authorities.
Yeah.
because she's a mutant, obviously.
But
And
not
this is
just
when we sort of
yeah, not
set
just any
up
mutant.
what is happening in the world of the X-Men beyond the cure. Um, People are finding out that the cure isn't really fully working. Some people are getting their powers back. Um, and so uh, the big kind of dramatic change is that they were hinted at in X-Men 3 in the Danger Room, but we're fully bringing in the Sentinels now.
That's right.
Um,
She escapes the airport outside, think Casino Royale kind of looking environment, right? Going outside of the airport, making an exit, thinking she's safe somewhere behind the bushes, but then you didn't even expect it. There's something, it's crazy. And she just barely manages to escape. And
yeah, and it makes sense
and they're
to have
keeping
a
it and they're keeping it secret too. It's not like they want the Sentinel to be shown off just yet.
yeah,
Well,
but it also makes sense to have this kind of Sentinel deterrent, this mutant deterrent in the form of a Sentinel, rather, at the airport. Like kind of a stealth
yeah.
thing. Um, and so yeah, so it kind of says, and so she runs away, and she eventually finds herself at the Xavier mansion. She arrives there when Wolverine and
Yeah.
Xavier are dealing with Scott, and so
And I always
Wolf-
found it fun to see like this like happy like sort of welcome back party for Xavier with all the kids, that haven't seen him. There's new students, and of course we have a new head of the school.
yes,
And it's this nice peaceful moment, and she comes in like bloodied, dirty, tired, and just and I thought that was interesting. I thought that was a good moment in the shot in the movie.
Chief Brody Roos is in the house.
This is still the first act.
Well, it's in the first act, but you've missed a good chunk.
We're
of
going
theme.
back and forth with the
Yeah, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I wish I had that shot of the Sentinel. This is what I don't like about Google Slides.
These stupid slides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the other thing that's going to be introduced in the beginning of the movie is that we really, we wanted to bring in someone who could replace Xavier, replace Jean, and I thought, look, we might as well just do Emma Frost because
This is before
and
she was
Scott-
even in any of the movies, unless you count.
yes.
Wolverine.
Nope, this is before. Nope, we were doing this before Wolverine. We did this before Origins. So that because we were trying to then retcon why we then had to think of retcon ways of fixing the problem even more after Wolverine Origins.
Who cares about that then?
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. Yeah, so that would be great because she's a love interest for Scott. This is a very Scott-centric story. And that could just add more complications to, his emotions of he's back in the mansion, he's pissed off with Xavier. There's this just smoking hot, head of the school now.
Yeah, but she's
That is
cool. I
gonna-
remember her being so cool. Like
Yeah, cool and suave and maybe a little bit cold, like a diamond.
like a frosty
And-
diamond.
Yeah, and she was, and she was going to be intriguing to him and kind of essentially be sort of a beacon to sort of steer him out of his funk that he has gotten into.
Here's the funk. I got the funk right here. I drew. Look at this beautiful 2010-2009 motion image of Scott moping at the grave of Jean Grey. Wonderful.
I love that. I love that.
I don't know if it's too emo or if it's a bit cheesy, but
No,
I made the
I liked
shot
it.
anyway.
I liked it because we were going a little bit darker with this, and I liked it. A frosty chocolate milkshake. She would have been a frosty chocolate milkshake. Yeah, no. So I like it because it was very. We're really upsetting the status quo of X-Men. It's Xavier's not in charge, Storm's not in charge.
Storm left too. We just made the excuse Halle Berry is too expensive, so not really,
Yeah.
but like we just didn't want Storm in it, so we just she went to Kenya. She just went back to see what she could do.
We were, sir, really putting her in Wakanda.
Were we? I don't remember this.
Because Storm goes back to Africa, she hooks up with Black Panther, she marries the Black Panther.
She does.
We had all these like ideas set up of thinking, oh, maybe these are things we could do with these characters. So she was going to be off. We wrote out
Beast.
Rogue and Colossus.
Yeah, Rogue.
Maybe
No, Colossus. We kept Colossus.
But yeah, wrote out Rogue, wrote out Kitty Pryde, wrote out Iceman. We were wanting to bring in new people with just a few returning faces, being Wolverine, Cyclops, and Xavier. Essentially,
Primarily.
those are the main big faces.
Frank
that
says
we're
this
going
is
to-
the most X-Men shot I've ever seen, and I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. I think it would have been great.
So yeah, and then during the film, this is a little bit later, but look, here's my little dramatic. Look at that little dramatic Cyclops and Emma Frost moment.
Yeah.
Which would happen at some point in the movie, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so towards probably like second act time, they would finally, towards second act, third act, they would, things would have to move on. So,
Anyway.
so
We got our characters.
once everyone is in the mansion, right? Once you've got Scott back and you've got this new girl who's turned up, who we find out her name is Betsy. She is
yeah.
Psylocke.
Yeah, let me
She is
let me get to that frame.
So the thing is her brother is Brian, who
Why is it so far away?
in the comics eventually becomes Captain Britain. Her family are scientists and things like that, so they're involved in government science things.
That's correct.
And what we did is we had them connect. We had her family connected to drumroll Essex Corps.
Yeah, I mean, that was
because-
just like that was just like a throwaway thing.
It was a throwaway. It wasn't throwaway. It was setting up what would be X-Men 5.
Sure, it sets up certain things, but it was sort of just like
In the way
it's not
that
important to our
that-
story. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, but it's important to mention. So it's like because it's like in X-Men. Which stupid one is it?
Apocalypse.
Yeah, is it Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's at the
where
end
they
of-
they
yeah.
set down the briefcase and it says Essex Corps, and then they never do anything with that. And it's like, what the hell, guys? What the hell?
Yeah. So anyway, there's a
Um,
wonderful picture of Psylocke here.
Yes.
This is from 2009, so please forgive the crudity of this image, but yeah, there we go. I was
so
never
what
into.
was-
I was never. Let me just talk about surface level stuff. Like I was never into stupid purple hair. I was into the kind of dark hair with the purple highlights. You know, like when the light would refract from the hair, you could see purple, but it's pretty dark. You know, and that gives it a
Yeah.
richness. It doesn't look like a clown.
Sure.
There we
Sure.
go. There we go. And I, there was the actress that we would find for this wouldn't be Olivia Munn too much. I wouldn't say that's too.
Dear God, no.
Yeah.
She would be British and Asian. It's because that's what.
But that's the fun
what
part
Psylocke
because
is.
what I like about these things is that you can always hint to backstories that have happened before, and that's kind of what's fun about X-Men is that you can always, like you said with XX, you're already branching out to something else that might be happening in another part of the world that could be explored later.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway.
So once everyone is at the mansion, we sort of begin. The second act is very much a kind of a slow burn mystery. There's two things that are building during this bit. Well, three things rather. There's the two villains who are starting to rise up out of the ashes.
That's right.
One being the Shadow King, the other being the Sentinel program, right?
The Sentinel program.
Yes.
Let's get to the Sentinel
But also
program.
on a more personal level, in a sort of spin on how Rogue and Wolverine
Yeah.
had this special relationship, Scott was going to have a special relationship with Psylocke.
Yeah, that was gonna be like the kind of exactly like the Wolverine There it is. I love this shot. There's another X-Men shot for you. This is the little training. Like there would obviously be a training thing going on. There would be, which is what made Cyclops kind of stay in the X-Men again, because he's finding his his calling, to take in these kids who are in need, and they need shelter, they need training, they need guidance, and that's what's so fun about getting him back, and bringing a lot of Cyclops that wasn't shown too much in X-Men the movies.
Yeah. So he's very much a mentor, teacher, refinding himself in this second act. And then kind of the bigger things that are happening with we'll do the Sentinel stuff first, and then we'll talk about Shadow King.
Let's do that.
That's
that sounds like
the four elements. The fact that what Betsy tells them about this attack on this
the airport.
Xavier, reads her mind, sees some shit, and then the announcement comes. New government program to be announced. And this is all off the back of this incident at the airport. And at the White House, they unveil the Sentinels. Xavier's there with Emma Frost and Wolverine.
And Bolivar Trask is... is what's his name? Come on.
The guy from Predator.
Yeah. Frank's gonna shout his name, and I remember who it is. I'm just having a brain fart.
His name Frank. Shout his name.
No, I know his name. I don't need Frank to tell me. I'll remember. His name is Bill Duke. There we go.
Bill Duke. There you go. Way to go.
Even I was on the set of X-Men 3, and I told the guy who played Porcupine Man. Remember?
Yep.
He's in so many movies. He was in episode 7 Star Wars and stuff like that, right? I told him, I said, I heard Bill Duke was in the movie. And he's like, who's that? And I'm like, the dude in Predator. And he was like, oh, the black guy. And I'm like, yeah.
He's like, shit. So I like that we were bringing back Trask, that version of Trask from X-Men 3, who was he was just sort of empty in X-Men 3, but it left a lot of room to do stuff, I think.
See, Frank did it. He did it. He said it twice.
He did. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. I will always be.
I like because Phil kept saying it on his Phil and Jake podcast. There you go.
Oh, he knows. Stories are old. They're getting old. My stories are getting old.
We're getting old. So we got Trask in there. We have this complicated moment where we finally bring in the Sentinels into the X-Men world properly, and they're not just in the danger room. Mm-hmm. It's like full on.
And it's a big deal in the world as well. It's not like just one pops out. I mean, it did in the beginning, but you know what I mean.
Because really, what's happening is that after the cure not really working, there's a lot of and the big giant incident that would have been in X-Men 3 with the whole fucking Golden Gate Bridge being moved and somehow getting longer than it should be.
Charles always wanted to build bridges.
The big reaction is we need a stronger deterrent against violent mutants.
Yeah, man, look, the cure doesn't even work that well. What's next? Yeah. Giant robots. That's it. That's our answer.
So they have the Sentinels. The Sentinels are there.
And the way we would introduce it, we had this one scene where Wolverine would go with some, could be with Angel or Colossus, and they would go into this factory to figure it out, which is why that shot existed I'm showing you right now. They're building, we had Nimrod in mind, if it would fit into it, but you'd go into the factory and you'd see certain things being built, and they would be very concerning.
Yes.
These are all 2009 pictures.
Yes. We introduced the Sentinels. We introduced the Zero Tolerance Act, which is something from the comics as well.
See, here's a great. Sorry, Luke, you can't see it yet because the feed is still going. But this is a wonderful shot of Xavier. He was invited in. They would be like, "Oh, Xavier, we thought you were dead." The rumors were overstated. They would invite him to this, and you'd be able to see one of the Sentinels up close here. And that's one of the shots. I think I just made the camera pull up because I originally drew it vertical for the book, so I had to.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, that would be the big thing. Is the big reveal is Xavier is brought in and they do the big reveal, and that's that's this scene where we see them. But this is a big unveiling in DC that I think has some of the X-Men with them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then what starts happening is we have sort of I guess what's kind of maybe similar to the Nightcrawler story is government facilities that are connected to the Sentinels are being bombed. And this opens up the kind of the secondary plot for Wolverine and his crew to go do something.
Yeah, I have a shot of that. Wait, I'm trying to find it. So disorganized. I'm so sorry. There he is. There's Wolverine. He's in the factory. He's looking around. He's sneaking around here. You'll see it when it comes.
What they do first is kind of in the way that Xavier's like, oh, go find Nightcrawler. He's like, I want you to go find. It's a mutant who's doing this. I want you to find her and bring her in because she's gonna get herself into a lot of trouble if she doesn't stop this. And they track this. They track this mutant down. And they track her down to a specific factory where there's some Sentinel nonsense happening, which also allows Wolverine and co. to gather some extra information. But the person that they apprehend is Domino. We wanted to bring Domino.
At one point, Domino was in this movie.
Yes. I don't think we ever took her out of the movie.
Maybe not officially.
And I quite like
shot
this
from
idea.
Toy Story. Yes.
What?
I love it. That's great. The buzz shot from Toy Story, where it's like going from the feet.
Yes. Yeah. And so basically what with this particular storyline, what's going to unravel is that Wolverine is going to basically set up X-Force, which would be the more kind of gritty, covert X-Men team, and their essential mission is to because I'm jumping around, but when they find Domino, they find a piece of information that is a bit more concerning about the building of the Sentinels and about the sort of the future of the program that connects to a kind of quite nasty, malevolent artificial intelligence. That if it's allowed to continue, it's very sort of Terminator Doomsday sort of situation. And so their mission really is to stop this from happening, is to end this research because actually, it is going to be quite catastrophic.
So that was that was our B plot.
B story.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to kind of do that kind of like that thriller sort of action.
The X2 thing, right? Like where we're cutting between. That's how it happened in X2, right? Because we had Wolverine and the gang, escaping, and then we had Patrick Stewart being tormented by the guy from Seven.
Exactly. And so I really like that because ultimately what they would be leading towards is stopping Nimrod. So this whole thing would be leading towards the ultimate Sentinel, which would be Nimrod.
Yeah, we would.
And the
around
AI
to find where this Nimrod
in the comics there was Master Mold.
The Master Mold. And I was like, "What's Master Mold, Luke?" And you were just like, "Oh, it's a robot that poops smaller robots."
Literally, it's a giant Sentinel that poops smaller Sentinels, and I'm like, that will be the artificial intelligence. That's the thing that's being created. That if it is put into Nimrod, then it could be quite devastating.
Sure. Yeah. And here's the shot of that's kind of like the airport scene where she's hiding somewhere in the trees outside of the airport zone, and then the Sentinel just shows up and tries to grab her. Anyway, continue, Luke. I'll be right back.
Okay. So I will just talk to myself for a minute. How's it going, Frank? How's it going? How's it going, Dice Man? Who else is with us? Frank and Dice Man. So he said, Phil, I'm a big fan of your voice work. What happened to the Unexpected Journey podcast? I don't know what happened to the Unexpected Journey podcast. I mean, I'm not Phil, and I was not a part of that. So I can't really tell you what happened to that, but I'm assuming if he's not doing it anymore, it's because it stopped. Or something. I'm glad that you're good, Frank. I'm glad. I'm good too. Really good, I guess. I really need to pee, but Phil's gone, and I can't leave because that would just be awkward. This an empty stream, just 2 rooms. And look at my action figure collection. All my X-Men. Aren't they cool?
What's happening?
You're only here for a little bit more. God damn it, Frank.
What happened?
Frank says he's only here for a little bit more.
That sucks. But, the good news is that this is recorded. The only problem is that we won't have Frank to make fun comments.
We like you when Frank made. Okay.
Anyway, since I'm back, I just need to let me just answer Dice Man.
I know. Can you give me a second?
Okay.
I need to go for a piss. So answer Dice Man.
Very good. Good. Hi. What's up? I'm drinking this pineapple juice. And it's pretty good. But yes, Dice Man, if you're still here, I have no idea what happened. I never listened to the Unexpected Journey podcast, which is surprising. I've only heard it through other people telling me about it, and I've never uploaded the audiobook that I did on Spotify. It wasn't me. Someone just said, "Oh, I love it. It's on Spotify." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I appreciate very, 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 very much that you enjoyed it. It was definitely a passion project, just like this was, except this was a movie, and this was before the audiobook happened. And I really appreciate it. And I don't know what happened to the Unexpected Journey podcast. I really don't. Like I said, I have never listened to it. But I hear good things about it, and I'm very sad that it had to just go away like that. And I apologize for any and all reasoning that might have been indirectly my fault, which I'm very sorry about. But I've never uploaded the audiobook since 2015, sorry. So that's the story. I'm gonna make a video about it because I'm getting quite a few emails.
Hello.
So I have pineapple juice. It's quite good. It says not from concentrate right in front of me. So it's like, I guess I better believe them.
Believe anything that's written on those bottles. 100% true.
And Diceman, I've not made the Hobbit audiobook. That is a wonderful person called Bluefax. Did a great job. I didn't listen to that either because I don't want to. You know how it is in the film industry? That's why there's unsolicited material. Can't hear you. What? Did you mouth that or did you just say it?
I'm saying yes, Frank, yes, because he's switching to his phone to keep watching.
Yay! Yeah.
Go, Frank.
Awesome. Okay, so where were we? What's happening?
So we're basically just kind of like sort of capping off what Logan's adventure would be, and that is he's, like I said, putting together this team. His main thing is going after the government, going after the Sentinel program.
That's right.
Trying to unearth the nefarious things that they're really planning to do with the Sentinel program, which is kind of more mutant suppression.
Yeah. The
scary,
works, right?
Yeah. Scary stuff.
The works. This is where I think our second, I think just like Pirates, I think the second act has always been a thing where I know it's the journey, not the destination, but usually that has to kind of be, I think the only way you could really get that second act going is if you started writing drafts of the script. I think that's
Yes.
the only way you could find out what's the best way to put them in order. And even if you don't, like when you're making the film, up until the ending and the editing is when you also keep
Yeah.
structuring that story. So,
Yeah.
so we're
Yes.
saying
Yeah.
like there's a lot of stuff that could be put in front or after that we're going to talk about now. That is just like they're not more so just like random ideas, but there's sort of things that can like connect to each other that would be, you know, like set pieces and developments.
No need to apologize, Dice Man. We're happy
no
for
apologize.
any and
We're
all
very happy.
questions.
I very much appreciate that because I've noticed that a lot of people have been asking me that. So it's good to, you know, what better way to get an answer than directly from me?
Yeah.
Right.
And like Dice Man, you can ask me, hey, Luke, what desk toys do you have? And I could be like, I have a little Pickle Rick.
That looks
And when
very
I press
phallic.
the button, he speaks.
I didn't hear anything, but I believe you. Still didn't hear it.
What?
Yeah. I think it's the Discord muting.
Damn you, Discord.
Okay,
Maybe that's why you
anyway.
can't hear my fan.
Anyway, I can't hear your fan. You had a fan on? No.
This whole time I've had a fan on.
Wow. So anyway, this would sort of like this Sentinel thing would also kind of we had ideas of it being in the desert. And Luke, you're gonna be you're gonna see the picture, the terrible 2009 image that I did. It has Gambit in it, which I don't think survived.
The 1965
That looks like a. What is that?
Mustang.
Yeah, do you see it? Do you see the picture? You see the picture, Luke?
I do. I'm showing off what other. This is the only other thing that I have on my desk.
Okay.
Is Cartman.
Cartman.
I love South Park.
Look at this shot. Look at it. It's great. Imagine this in a movie. I think everyone would love it.
I know. Oh, yeah, this is when we did toy with the idea of having Gambit
Yeah.
in it. This is the thing. Logan's team is really not solidified other than I wanted Domino. Everyone
Right.
else was in flux. Whether that was Colossus, whether that was Gambit, whether that was Nightcrawler. But the main thing is that Logan's mission is, as I said, he's gonna go stop some shenanigans from happening.
Yeah.
And
I would go pretty wild a little bit, like on like where it could take place, because I always felt like movies can sometimes feel constrained to locations and feel small. And I wanted something where these guys could go somewhere very far away, like the desert. I haven't seen that in X-Men. I wanted.
Until X-Men Apocalypse.
True.
But at this point in time,
There was no apocalypse.
we had not seen the X-Men in a desert.
No. So there's
And
that.
I like that idea.
Thank you. There's that. There's another drawing of a Sentinel getting pulled apart. Yeah, acknowledge my shots. That's all I got, Luke.
I'm acknowledging them all, and they're great.
all I got
They're great.
is shots, action scenes, and gags. That's me. That's, you know.
Yeah, but you're good at that, though.
give
But that's not true. That's not true. You also come up with some really good character.
Thank you.
Character
Thank
stuff
you.
like that.
Thank
So
you.
you're doing yourself a disservice.
Doing myself with the service. What can I do? What can I say? Anyway, there's some
So,
more
yeah.
Psylocke here. There's a nice little Psylocke. Poor old Psylocke. Yeah. So you want to go into that little bit just with like.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the B stuff, because I think we should focus more on the A stuff now, because it's the most it's not the most interesting.
Let me show you one of the best B stuff things that happened. Ooh, dude, I don't want to go here. This is too far. Oh no. Yeah, here's some cool B stuff. There we go. There's Angel, and there's a Sentinel turning back. Look at that.
We almost had Angel. We were thinking Angel for this X-Force.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, forgot his name, who played Angel in X-Men 3. Great character actor, was in 3:10 to Yuma, and then when I saw that, I was like,
Hell and High Water, I
Yeah.
think.
and
Yeah, so I like the character of Angel, and I like the guy who played Angel, but I hated what they did with him in X-Men 3. He was just
Exactly.
useless. And so I did like the idea of trying to bring him back and use him and make him actually useful and cool.
And yeah,
Because again, when they brought Angel back for the second time in an Apocalypse, it was useless. It was just pointless.
Ben Foster. I
Ben Foster.
knew Frank would be able to correct us for these things. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah.
Yeah, and basically, so yeah, it would be that would be in the B story. Yeah, it would. So basically, it's the Sentinels coming up. There's a lot of there's a lot of sway that Trask can have now in the government because the cure didn't work. So it's like we have to do something about this. It's getting worse. We're gonna get. We were in talks. We did it undercover. We're working on a program that will definitely keep these mutants under check, which is the Sentinel programs.
Yeah. So
And the
that was a pretty cool big threat, I think. And a good big threat that's a good like B plot.
Yeah, and
that is
yeah.
That doesn't really imitate, the X-Men 2 plot where, Stryker just wants to wipe out all mutants. It's a bit more scary. It's a bit more oppressive as opposed to just mass murder. Which I quite liked.
Yeah, I wanted to show this awesome sequence we had with the Sentinel chasing Wolverine and the gang in a car. I don't know how they would get into a car and why would they be chasing the highway, but it was a great shot, and I had some interesting. There was some interesting action things that would have been fun to do with Wolverine, considering he's so indestructible, right? So sometimes it's fun watching Wolverine get hurt.
It is.
And if
it is.
I wish I had that shot right now. But yeah, so anyway, okay, so we were talking about the instigating thing where Psylocke is... Oh, there we go. There's some Sentinel action right here. Look at that. Wonderful. There also is the fact that Brian, her brother, is being held hostage for some reason.
Yes. So in the airport scene, at the very beginning, when she blows up and escapes the airport, her brother Brian is taken and held hostage.
See, there's a shot.
We had the vague idea that it would somehow link to what her parents were doing for Essex Corps,
which is why they were being taken to begin with. That's the whole...
why they were fleeing England, why wasn't fully clear, but that's kind of the basic idea. There was something that was going to be connected to
because
that.
That's Psylocke's. That's kind of Psylocke's.
Yes, her thing is she needs to find her brother.
Yep.
And so that's happening with Scott. She's doing that with Scott and Xavier and Emma Frost. That that band of people are basically going to go and do that. But there's a big threat happening, and that is the Shadow King.
Yeah, Shadow King. I don't know. I love Shadow King. I love him. I mean,
we'll talk about his storyline. Talk about, because you had a lot of fun, interesting horror ideas in that that
went into X-Men 4 as well. Yes. Days of Future Past.
It did a little bit. A lot of our ideas happened in Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and New Mutants. So while the Sentinel stuff is happening, there is this horror element, and that is there are characters are having very strange, horrific dreams, having
especially Xavier, having sort of like momentary out of body experiences that don't really make sense, and things like that. So yeah, talk about all the horror stuff that you wanted to do. So as we established, the Shadow King has been unlocked because that's what happened in the prologue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's after blood because Xavier was the one that did it to him. Like, how many years ago are we talking? Like 40, something like that. But that's Frank, because you weren't here. That was the incident that caused him to lose his walking ability when he met Shadow King in Cairo all those years ago, and he really found out that there are people who aren't like Magneto, who are just terrible. There is evil in this world, and if they're mutants, then then it's probably the worst thing ever. So the Shadow King, because he's so powerful, he's able to manipulate and control minds. He's a big time psychic, right? And in fact, like, he can exist without a body as well, as far as I can remember. And he's been unleashed because Xavier died. That kind of psychic link to hold him back has been eradicated after he got killed or died or something like that. And this threat slowly becomes more and more apparent throughout the film. So it's wonderful that we have that one part with the Sentinels, which is like sort of the physical and the obvious sort of issue in the next X-Men story, but then also we have this creeping vendetta that's happening with the Shadow King, who's slowly trying to rip apart everything that Xavier loves and cares for. And one of the big ones is that there's Psylocke, and Psylocke and Shadow King in the comics have had links to each other very much so. I think there were different stories that were made for that, and I thought it was a perfect combination to put that in. And so he's after that. He's after Xavier. And there's this wonderful image that I drew here that I still love. Like it's a projection, because like the Shadow King doesn't look like that in the physical world, but like he can project that he's like this, and he talks to Xavier in that in the like Superman's death.
We had the ideas first, Franklin.
That was remember that? Ah!
That scream made no sense. Now that the Superman is dead, we can finally attack Earth. Except there was no Superman on Earth for like a bunch of years.
That was good. Anyway, let's go back here as I try to explain what's happening. And I think I've explained.
You're fine. You're fine. Go on.
And that's kind of like our A plot, because what it does is it goes into Psylocke, like tempting Psylocke into who the hell knows what. I forgot.
Well, yeah, no, he's sort of feeding off of Martha. He's sort of feeding off of Psylocke. There's a lot of kind of angsty, tormented energy that he's able to take from her and build up his strength. And he in a way that is not totally a ripoff of X-Men 1, he is wanting to sort of use her as a sort of conduit so that he can really take over the world. So there was gonna be some sort of psychic explanation as to why he needed this and how he was going to do it. But that's essentially his ultimate aim is to destroy Xavier and take over the world, because he's a nut job.
Destroy Xavier, take over the world ploy.
Yes. And that's kind of where his trajectory is meant to go.
Yeah. And he would do that, and there's so many ways you can do that. Like, it just becomes a horror movie whenever you want it to.
Yeah, I think that would have been the really fun thing. Is like, I think like New Mutants had such an interesting idea, and then I don't know the details about how that film got fucked so hard in the ass.
It's one of my favorite shots. Like, I love this shot. I love it. It's the Shadow King just talking to Xavier, like holding his head and just being like, he's talking. It's scary. I don't know, because you never expect something like that in the X-Men hallway, and I don't know.
No. And even when you had X-Men Apocalypse, you had the moment where they were Xavier and Apocalypse were finally fighting a psychic battle, and we were seeing it.
Yeah.
It was just in the X-Men mansion, and like one just got bigger than the other. It was just like, this is all you got?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, show us something. It's a bit like Green Lantern, when like the Green Lantern movie, it's just like the only thing you can come up with is a child's race car track. That's your power. That's the length of your imagination. Whatever. So this, I think the thing was gonna be quite fun. Like I said, like with New Mutants, there's a lot of bits of New Mutants trailer that they are quite horrific. They're like proper horror, scary looking stuff. Of course, the film is terrible, but the stuff is there. And I think you really could have played with what was real and what is and what isn't real throughout the whole kind of first and second act, um, and it would really, I think, mess up a lot of the characters' minds. Like
Yeah.
it would throw up, it would shake a lot of stuff, and it would, because there's so much back and forth going on with the Shadow King, messing with people while he's getting stronger. Um, that would then have more knock-on effects on Trask and the Sentinels, and wanting to, there's the idea of wanting to place Sentinels outside of Xavier's school to, have
Oh, we
a
have that
watchful
picture
eye
there.
over that. We were also, that would then kind of, Shadow King would then be able to manipulate that situation so that the Sentinels would then attack the mansion and completely destroy
Oh,
it.
I have shots of that.
Um,
Hold on.
yeah, so we had a cool mansion destroying scene. Um, and this stuff would also add to the character's general sort of waning of trust, when it comes to Xavier. And in one of our
That's
documents,
it.
um, we have a really cool scene in one of our documents that, um, at the time, I think we had Jubilee in the story, and she's with some of the X-Men, and they're like, she's like, we should trust Xavier. Why don't we trust Xavier? And Wolverine's like, well, how much can how many times can you trust someone, before they start letting you down, before you start feeling a bit sort of, you know had, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which I quite liked.
I like that too. I mean, that's why our our document when we were writing it, our X-Men 4 document was called X4.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. So Xavier urges him to, yeah, I think. Oh, I can't find it now. Well, tell a story and I'll see if I can find it.
Tell what story?
Just tell a story.
Tell a
I'll see
story.
if I can.
Okay, so I'll tell you the story of the fact that this movie would have climaxed, and like it would not climax. It was the dipping point. Would have been where Xavier is like totally out of his wiles, out of his mind, not out of his mind, but just like his overconfidence and his the fact that he got back and everything was going great, really kind of went in over his head a little bit, especially with the Shadow King. And
I found it when you're ready.
all right, go on.
Yeah, so this is, I think this is before, yeah, so we had Jubilee in this. And they've sort of, the destruction of the mansion splits, kind of creates a schism, and people kind of go off on their final journeys. Um and Jubilee, she's like, should we have left? Should, was it right to abandon the professor like this? Um he's been there for us. He's always done what he thinks is right.
He's
And
been there
then
until he wasn't.
Wolverine's like, yeah, but um, is one man always right? Should we go with everything he says? I've seen how he handled things with Jean. I got, I gotta question him sometimes. Um, and I like
I
the
gotta
fact that,
question him
like,
sometimes.
say again.
I gotta question him sometimes. I don't know. I was trying to do a Hugh Jackman, but
Well,
it
all
wasn't
right.
working out.
And so I like this idea that's like, finally, not finally, but like, by this point in the story, this glorious return of Xavier has descended into, I have to question him because I can't trust him. We shouldn't just blindly trust Xavier all the time, because he is super intelligent and he's smart, but how much of that is manipulation as
Yeah,
well?
that's it.
And so I quite like what we were doing with that. I think it would have been quite
Yeah, and
interesting.
instead of like, this is just like X-Men 1, but instead of like Rogue escaping and getting captured,
Mm.
we have Psylocke going in to do things on her own, and that triggers the end of the movie essentially.
Indeed.
When I find that damn picture, because it's another pretty good one. It's just Psylocke somewhere out there.
Somewhere.
It's a good thing I never watched that
out
movie. I watched it when I was a kid. I don't think I can stomach watching it again because I'll cry.
Well, I'm just remembering South Park. The scene in South Park where the mouse sings that song.
Oh yeah,
And you don't know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't seen no South Park, man. I have a few episodes, but I haven't as a.
Does anyone in the chat know what I'm talking about? About the mouse singing that song? I was like, somewhere out there.
I just know the original.
And it has something stitched to its back, and that thing
There it
stitched to
is.
its back.
Found it. Ah, that's so cool. So she's doing like her like, you know, going solo thing, and you know, and then you have some great moments that you could use the light with. You know, she has those psychic knife things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the psychic knife things. And now it's finally popped up.
This is what's so great about having a character like this. She's very much like Rogue. It's like that she's inexperienced and hasn't gone on her own much, but she knows she has the strength to do that, and she has untapped power. And it's just like Rogue, except it's like it's just like
it's similar-ish, but
Rogue.
like Psylocke actually was going to like do stuff. I think that's what always annoyed me with Rogue's character in all of the films is she doesn't really do much. She doesn't, for as cool and as strong as Rogue is, Rogue didn't really do much. And I wanted, with Psylocke to like allow her to do something,
especially with her with her relationship with Scott. It's like I like. There's so much that I like about it, and there's this one. So remember we talked about Scott's the fact that he didn't have any powers for a while.
Oh yes.
And then at some point he gets them back. You know, he feels this great pain, and it's hurting. It's like when you have to go, puke, pretty much. Like it's that kind of, feeling. And at this point in time, Psylocke has been extremely like looking up to him and being so except like they've been training, she's been learning so much from him, and it feels like the X-Men are kind of coming back now with Cyclops being there at the head, and it's getting more and more positive that way. And Cyclops isn't moping around anymore. He's trying to get away. He's trying to get over the whole gene thing within reason. And there's this point that I loved because it was painful as well as it's triumphant, is that he finally gets his, like, it just, something just naturally happens where he gets his powers back. And there's this scene where he's like in it's 4 a.m, and it's like he's just in pain. He's just and it's from Psylocke's point of view. She's like in a room somewhere in the mansion that you can hear yelling. It's like, it hurts. It's like all this sort of that kind of like viscosity, and you don't know what's happening. And then you finally, as the scene progresses, you finally get to the end where he, like everyone's trying to help Cyclops Scott, and he gets out into the mansion. It's dark, it's pitch black, and he finally lets it loose. And there it is. And there it is. I did it. I found it. Perfect. And it just he does the Cyclops thing. He does, like, it's just this unmitigated fireworks show of, what do you call that? His,
lasers?
Yeah, his lasers. What do you call it? Like, because it's the laser that doesn't burn. It's the other kind. You don't remember. You don't know.
Yeah. So no, it's just like this.
That happens, and it's a triumphant moment, and then there's this shot that I was just imagining, and you have Psylocke looking out in the window and seeing that, and you can see the reflection of that red light coming in, and then she's like kind of proud of him, and it would be such a nice emotional moment. Sorry, I'm just going in like a little nice scene.
I agree.
So anyway, let's go to like where we came from, where it's like, sure, we had action scenes, we had the Shadow King manipulating everybody. We had him, creating a horror show that just keeps getting worse. It keeps putting people into a lot more doubt and dismay. Everything seems to not be going well. At the beginning, it was, say, Xavier's back. Emma Frost is here. Cyclops is not dead. We have Psylocke, and we're gonna fix her problems too. The Sentinels are happening, but now we're gonna have an X-Men that is able to take them on. But these things never come to fruition by the end of the second act, and everyone's, as far as Trask's motivations are concerned, he doesn't trust Xavier or his school to do anything about it, and he feels like the best option is to attack it with Sentinels. So everyone's in a bad place.
Indeed.
And that's when Psylocke goes by herself, and that's when the Shadow King finally finds his opportunity to be able to take advantage of the situation. And he does it. And he does it like this, and look how cool it is. Because it's visions. Whenever it shows up to your screen, Luke. That's kind of the sad part. What?
It'll show up in a minute. Yeah, no, I liked it. I think it would have been a cool story. Yeah, I love that bit. Yeah, it's finally cropped up. Yeah, I love that scary.
Just comes out of the ground. What did
yeah.
I actually took that, the best artist steal. So I took this from Return of the Jafar.
Okay.
I actually didn't know I did until I watched Return of the Jafar, and I'm like, oh, that's where I got that shot from. Most of these things are usually like just subconscious. You don't really notice you steal them until you do. And then of course there's this thing with Rogue with Psylocke. And then there's that thing with Psylocke, where that psychic whatever the hell that is in the comics. Just kind of throwing that out in the climax. Yeah.
Her psychic knives and stuff.
No, the psychic merging thing where she turns blue and has that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So that's an option.
That would have been awesome.
That's an option for the ending. And of course, at the end of the movie, here's another little looking thing. So, Luke, what happens at the end then? What's the third act? What's the third act? What does it comprise?
I mean, we've sort of touched upon like the third acts in throughout this whole thing, and that the main bit for Logan and stuff is they need to break into the facility where they have the Nimrod project going on. There is something tied with Nimrod and Betsy's brother, because I think Brian is.
They're part of a project. That's why. There. Yeah, that's why he's being kidnapped. That's why Rogue. Yeah. I'm saying Rogue. Psylocke.
Yeah.
Is trying to get him out, and that's why they're of special interest, which is why they were targeted in the airport to begin with.
Yeah. So all has to do with like her parents and then their parents and all that kind of stuff. Yada yada yada. But yeah, so that climax for Logan and the X-Force team is stopping the Sentinel.
Yeah, fighting the Sentinels in Washington D.C. That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, and saving Brian and all that kind of stuff. For Shadow King, there was going to be this big giant astro battle with Emma Frost, Xavier, and Psylocke.
There it is. There's the shot. There's the Emma shot where she shows up and she has this like her outfit, because she never would wear what she does in the comics. She would be pretty modest, you know what I mean? Like, because I felt like that's a character like that in a situation, in an environment like that wouldn't be.
Yeah, like it was sort of weird that Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse was dressed the way she was dressed.
Yeah,
it just was weird. So we would have this big sort of epic battle with the big psychic battle happening at the same time as the big Sentinel battle. And the person who really saves the day with the psychic battle is Psylocke. She's the one who is able to eventually beat the Shadow King and relock him in his prison. I think we toyed around with the idea of Xavier being re-crippled by the end. But I don't know if we were going to really go with that or not. But I think we toyed with that.
I always think it's better to just leave it for the next suckers who want to make X-Men 5. Let them deal with it.
we
But what I loved
were-
about it is
we-
also that there's this point where Cyclops has some. At least I wanted to have him have some contribution to what Psylocke was able to overcome at the end.
yeah.
Because you just
Yeah.
you gotta tie that bow up, you know.
Of course.
If there's
But
anything-
it would have been fun. It would have been fun if I mean, the thing is, we were putting this stuff together. When did you move back to Croatia?
2011.
2011. Okay, so yes, you were still in the States. I was very busy with my undergraduate degree. So, I think because life got quite busy over 2008 and 9, we started really strong, and then
Yeah, we
and then
kinda
sort of petered
Petered
off with developing
You
the
went
story.
to the UK.
But
I went to the other part of Europe.
this is true. I mean, just I wonder, the word count alone for the X-Men Disunited document.
Yeah, it was good.
It's
good joke.
7,000 words.
And it wasn't even the
That's a-
first
that's a-
draft.
No. And then in the other document. Okay, the other document, the X-Men character maps. Because we both wrote these character maps where we were highlighting all the characters and what their plots were throughout the thing and where they crossed over.
Yeah.
That document is 10,000 words.
Holy
So
hell.
we wrote almost 20,000 words
We wrote quite a bit.
of kind of preliminary stuff
Yeah.
for this.
Also, if you're looking at the screen, which isn't showing anything yet, but it's this shot where it's like, oh, you have Angel, Wolverine, and Colossus. They're walking in some kind of, they're looking at Nimrod, the AI system that we made up. And who's there looking up at the, who's up there on the grafters? He has a card. Uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Some of these scenes might be the stuff that we were adjusting in the wake of the Wolverine Origins movie.
right.
I think because I think we kind of thought maybe we could put Gambit in since Gambit was in that movie. Maybe do some callbacks. Also tried the problem with Wolverine Origins is that it then complicated Emma Frost's involvement.
But even so, X-Men First Class ditched it anyway.
It did. So, it was which made more sense. I mean, she was just some girl named Emma who had diamondy skin. Fine.
Yeah. Also, yeah, so it would be cool, like, this dynamic with Wolverine and Colossus and Angel. They would kind of, I was assuming that they would kind of make a trio, and they would be like, these
And Domino.
kind of out, and Domino, who I didn't draw there because I forgot about Domino. and they would make this kind of, Dirty Dozen kind of trio, and which would be great for. Hey, there we go. There's Domino. Honestly, that design is perfect.
I love this design. Yeah. She was great in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
That was great. Everything about her was perfect. I don't have a crush or anything.
Yeah, so that's about it. We didn't really. I don't know what else to say. We went through it.
That's the end of the story.
So how does this end? So how does this end? Like, what happens?
The Braddocks get reconnected, and there is something with their parents, I think, or their parents. Sorry, yawn. Her parents, yeah. There's something with the Braddocks where they get reunited with their parents. I feel like with Xavier, we were. I seem to remember him not staying at the mansion.
I don't remember
at the
any
end.
of this stuff.
I might be confusing that with like other comics or something, but there was something sort of ambiguous about what he was going to do at the end. Maybe he was going to take a different path for a change. Maybe his time really is over with the X-Men, or whatever, maybe needs to find a new path that isn't running the school.
Yeah.
Um, Scott was going to co was would co-run the school with Emma. He would stay.
Of course he would.
Wolverine would stay, but I think Xavier would was going to go away in the end. So status quo remake returns for most people, but I think that was a
But
thing.
we mix up some characters too, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Um and yeah, that was the end.
Some good fight scenes.
Ba-da-ba-da.
Yeah, and we would bring that back, of course. Da, 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 da.
We did, like I said, we were going to have a there was, I think there
Well, of
we
course,
did
like
want
the
to do
ending,
a Mr. Sinister.
the ending stinger would have just had something with Cyclops being a leader in the X-Men, you know. Bum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum.
Oh no, I'm saying there would have been a post-credit scene that would have teased
Sure.
Sinister.
I don't care about no post credits. Do
I
what
did.
you want. Do what you want. We told our story. That's the end of that. I'm satisfied.
No, what, Frank? What the f- are you saying no to, boy?
Oh, come on. No. No. Oh, here's the Super Bowl trailer. Remember that? I was like, I don't like Super Bowl trailers because they're always like action, and it's like if we did ours, we would just have like a narration, and we would just have like the aftermaths of certain fight scenes instead of the fight scene itself, and just give a tone.
That rings a bell.
Set a tone, and we were here to set the tone, and here it is. I don't think the audio will come through, and it probably better off not to listen to my bad Patrick Stewart impression, but there you go. There's some of that. See, we just see like the characters, we see the situation. There's like Trask, conniving, and there's a shot of Colossus looking at a Sentinel, and there's this sad shot of Psylocke crying. Who knows why? Then there's this majestic shot of Emma Frost with the diamond form, and then there's all these street lamps, and one of them turns, and it has two. It's a Sentinel, and then there's Brian being captured here. He's set hostage, and then it opens with a door opening, and there's a happy Charles Xavier saying hello, Scott, and then you see Scott opening the door and going, oh, boom. X-Men 4. That's your
Boom,
that's
baby.
your aw, bless. It said April 7th, 2014. It's cute.
Oh, that's
We should
good.
talk about Days of Future Past and how our reaction happened.
We should.
From
Yes,
that.
let's conclude with
because
that.
it's a complete opposite of Pirates.
It is. It was Days of Future Past was announced, and I mean, I was unlike Pirates.
But also you
where
have to
I
know
was
that First Class was out too. So like that was a thing.
That's right. First Class came out first. Yes. And I love First
It's
Class.
fantastic.
I mean, the thing is, I wasn't disappointed with any X-Men film that came out after
After-
3.
X-Men 3. No, after
sorry,
after
after
X-Men
that
Origins
Wolverine.
Wolverine, you mean?
I thought First Class was terrific. I loved what they did. It was annoying they had Emma Frost in it, so I was like, well, okay, we'd have to scratch that character if we ever did ours. But I love the relationships. I love the characters. Really enjoyed it. Days of Future Past was interesting because it was sort of close to what we were doing, which was
Yeah, I mean,
end of
sort
the
of.
very bleak X-Men story. Very Sentinel focused. Ours was very Sentinel focused.
Come to think of it,
What
though,
else was similar? I can't remember now. I'm trying to think. I know there was stuff. Yep.
Not too much. Honestly, I
Yeah.
can't think of that because like that's kind of what made me just totally fine with it. I was kind of excited to watch it because it was a totally different thing. Days of Future Past was an established narrative.
Mm.
It's one of the top 5 X-Men stories.
Great.
In comics, and like why would there be any that's completely different from what we were doing. And yeah, also like it just was kind of strange to say, like, even whatever you think of Bryan Singer now, or in general, of course. Just having Bryan Singer to make the movie again, you know, it was good. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So it wasn't
It's
like
true.
it wasn't like Pirates 4 where they just had, you know, twats doing it and it sucked and it was really bad.
Yeah, no, it's true. There was a lot of you
It
could
was
feel
so much
the
heart and like I loved it. Like I like the fact that you got like it's like I'm serious. Like this my favorite X-Men movies is 2 and then Days of Future Past
yeah.
and then 1.
Yeah. If I were to rank them in an order, yeah, I'd say X-Men 2, Days of Future Past, X-Men 1, X-Men First Class,
Mhm. Yep.
Wolverine.
Yep.
No,
No,
Logan. then
Logan.
Wolverine.
Sorry, yeah, that's what it was. It was X-Men 2. For me, it's Days of Future Past, then Logan, then.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of fine to kind of keep Logan outside of it because
Mhm.
it is
Yeah,
its own continuity. It's its own
totally.
universe. And the multiverse.
The multiverse.
You're in a bigger world than you know.
Don't want to know what Frank was saying no to, and he's not said.
I know.
Don't know if he's still here or not.
Yeah. So
So
yeah.
listening
So
on
what
us-
do you want to?
learn
Any last like like things that we want to say about X-Men 4 and what we had in mind? Like, cause as far as I'm concerned, I think we had a pretty solid story that had a lot of potential to be a great worthy successor.
Yes.
I would feel it would just be up there. Like the biggest hope would have been like someone saying, "Oh, I loved X-Men 2," and then right next to it X-Men 4. You know.
Yeah. I think it's what we were aiming for. I think in another universe,
Yeah.
in the multiverse,
In the
where we got this done.
And we got it done pretty
it-
well, you know. Like there are some
Exactly.
multiverses where we got it done and we just got fired, but
True.
you know, let's just pretend everything went well. Speaking of which, like I don't know if anyone sees these little shots. There's a shot of Wolverine confronting Cyclops because Cyclops has been gone this whole time, so he kind of doesn't trust him. It's like the third, like the last row, third down.
Mhm.
Do you see it?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's cool. And then there's the infamous one that I wanted to show with the Sentinel chasing the car in the highway with Wolverine and
Right, like the Ray Lightning Storm.
no, don't come in here with your anger. Don't come in here with your comparisons to Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
Look, it's just me and Luke. What do you expect us to do? You can just, you know, you need more hands and skills and people to work to make this happen. That means that once this is done, you go to the next step, which is the storyboard, which is writing the script, and then you find out how you make it better. It can only get better from here. If it was a movie, you know what I'm saying? That's the fun about making movies. It doesn't stop here. This is just the beginning, you know? And that's what makes me excited about making original movies, which eventually will happen, I believe.
I mean, I was sitting there as I was rereading the
Yeah.
document. I was like, actually, there's so much cool stuff in this story that like we could actually just
take it
we
out,
could
make
take
it not
it
X-Men.
and like just do something original with it.
Yeah. Could do.
Because I think it's awesome. Like we could do some sort of gritty, fun, other thing
What, like
with
the
it.
boys kind of thing, or what?
Honestly, you could even strip out the superhero aspects
Oh, yeah,
and
okay.
just
like
take these basic plots of girl on the run goes to gets help from da 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 da. You could take the superhero stuff out of it and still and then retain
totally,
a lot of
totally,
the other stuff.
Totally.
And I think you do something fun with that if we wanted to one day.
One day, Wolverine.
But
One day,
but yeah, no. So I think yeah.
someone will finish what I started, Wolverine. One day.
Oh, there we go. One day. I think that kind of sums
So
it up.
good.
I mean, it was
Well, like
fun.
that, yeah, it was, and I just wanted to reiterate the like a few things. Like Gladiator started as a revenge story, and it was nowhere near as good as it was when it was finished. You know. I was gonna say it looked like Aladdin. Oh yeah. No, wait.
He's not referring to the
he's
the
referring
Shadow.
to the Shadow King. Nice. Like, see, that's the thing. Like Frank would know. Like, if I ever make a movie, and he sees it, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I love that shot. It's from Return of Jafar. Oh, this one's from Toy Story. Oh, this one's it's gonna be fantastic." Because that's what happens. It's like I have like weird memories of certain shots in films or like angles, and they're just from like the weirdest things. Like there's this one shot in Jumanji that I just, for some stupid reason.
Yes.
Is it really 17 minutes left? What do you mean? We can go on forever. I don't know what he's talking about.
What do you mean 17 minutes left?
Is there a
What do you
limit
mean,
to
Frank?
stream? I don't think there's a streaming limit. You talking about me? I gotta be quiet. I forgot I have neighbors. They're gonna complain again.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so yeah, no, I think as I said, was good fun. Would have been a good thing if it was if we ever had the
In another universe, yeah.
clout to get it done.
In another universe.
I do think people would have liked.
Remember, like, that was one of the greatest joys I had in the mid 2010s as far as entertainment was concerned. When I listened to the soundtrack of Days of Future Past and the X-Men 2 theme came back, I had goosebumps. I was like so hyped.
Yes.
I don't think anything could have top that as far as like being excited about something for a film was concerned, since I don't know what it was. It's just that.
That was good. I was very. It's likewise. I was so.
Because I didn't expect
pleased
it. Like,
that was,
even if it was John Ottman, like, I thought that he would just make a new theme. That's right, Pathfinder.
This is true, Path. This is true.
Most
As
directors borrow
as the guy
ideas.
says, everything is a remix,
That's right.
and this is true.
I'm gonna make us bigger, because
Big.
yeah, we are bigger now. So yeah, any final things to say, really? Like,
Not about X-Men 4, but should we tell people what we're going to talk about next?
no.
Why not?
Well, you do it. I'm not doing it.
I mean, I'm happy to do it. But
Do it.
Do you have a reason? Okay, good.
Because I don't know
okay.
how to say it, because I'm bad at it.
We're gonna talk about things, and they're gonna be fun.
No, come on.
Um,
See, that's gonna be me.
I'm making fun of you. No, for the whole 4 people that are now with us, I think we're gonna try next week.
Let's
why
go
not?
for it.
We'll say next week. Next week we're going to start a new show, because these are the only 2 films that Phil and I have written together.
Yeah, that's right. There's nothing else, is there? There's it.
There isn't anything else.
No, that's
I
it.
remember like reading that Memphis script of yours.
Oh yeah.
I always think, I don't know why it comes to my mind frequently, Memphis.
Really?
I don't know
I
why.
mean, you're welcome to give me better ideas, because like that thing has been stuck in
The
2009.
thing is, I just remember like scenes and things. I don't really fully remember the whole thing. I just remember like little bits of it.
Yeah, I
And like the
didn't-
name, like Memphis as the title was a fun title. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like past and present repeat itself kind of thing. Like,
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like a guy with a cigarette. I remember a cigarette
yeah,
at the beginning.
essentially.
Anyway, I got completely distracted by saying that. And we lost a listener.
Wow.
So yeah, so next week we're gonna start a new show. Probably do it on my channel, so follow the
Oh
Luke
yeah, let's do
Deckard
that.
show.
Let me put that. How do I do that?
And we might bounce back and forth, but for the time being, we're saying my channel for now. But we're going to do a bit more dissection of things we love and pop culture, and various reactions to things that have happened throughout the week.
Yeah, or non-reactions.
So if we were
as far
doing
as
it
I'm
this week,
concerned.
if we're doing it this week, we probably would have talked about, I don't know,
Warner Brothers.
the craziness of Warner Brothers and Batgirl, and whatnot. But yeah, next week we may talk about the mutants and
Oh,
how
the
stupid
mutants.
that is.
The mutants. So
The
Luke,
mutants, not X-Men, but Marvel's The Mutants.
So, if we're gonna do that, Luke,
Yes.
I call on you to be prepared and bring the resources, bring the juice to the show.
I will have the articles. I will have my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I will have anything that we're going to discuss. I will have the things that I want to
Good.
discuss will be provided.
That's
and
what I
prepared.
want.
Yeah.
We homework.
So
yeah,
we won't have
I'll have
flashy
you know,
presentation.
Pathfinder. I'll have you know, Pathfinder. I did all the homework for all my podcasts, and I'm sick of doing them. I'm done. Now someone else has to take the torch and bear it forward. And all I have to do is show up. And I think that's a great deal. It's going to be a new thing for me. I've been doing this podcast stuff since 2013, okay?
Long time.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like I chose a career out of it. I just enjoy doing it. It's fun.
Exactly. That is why we're doing this. But if you're not following my channel, you need to go follow my channel.
We're gonna definitely do that. But I really enjoyed talking about just creativity and storytelling, and how to develop a story. I mean, even if this was like 10 years ago, even if this was like 13 years ago, but it's nice, because it just makes you feel like, when it gets developed, we'll go out there with our cameras, we'll get our actors, we'll go film this thing. It'll be real. I love it. I can't wait. I need to do something.
She, her, yeah, perfect. Frank.
Absolutely.
I don't know what you're talking about. Talking about.
Absolutely.
Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay. I'm like, did I just miss something entirely? Because I'm like, what? Who? Huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah. So that's something that we're gonna be doing, and we'll talk more about our love of good storytelling. We're not gonna be bashing everything.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff.
I'm not a fan of bashing too much. I mean, we can do it a couple times, but when it's bashing,
but it's gonna be more fun, more interesting stuff that we love.
Yeah.
And stuff that we find interesting or bizarre. Like, for example, the Batgirl stuff is just bizarre.
That is very bizarre. This is like the first time
regardless of if you liked the film or cared about it, like, it's just bizarre that this whole thing is canon.
For sure. I've actually I'm just thinking about how I don't think I've ever heard of something that was like this.
Nope.
Is it bad to say innocent? Like, it's just Batgirl, why is it getting canceled? Why does it deserve this?
Yeah, it's true. Why cancel that when something like The Flash has way more controversy? Like,
I can't wait to see him do something else.
I know, like, who's he gonna assault next, allegedly or not allegedly? Like, because my thinking was like, if Batgirl is so bad, irredeemable at a screening that you have to cancel it, like, that means the script must be just as bad. Like,
Is it as bizarre as the baseball scene in Catwoman?
Oh, I vaguely remember this.
I don't remember the baseball scene.
I can only vaguely remember what you're talking about, Pathfinder.
And I'm one of those sad people who watch Catwoman more than once just because I watched it with some commentaries and stuff. So it's like,
well,
I don't remember.
I'll cut you slack with commentary watching, but yeah, no, there's yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, but again, it's like you have things like, would you do different suits? Did I miss that? Oh, you mean X-Men suits?
What?
Would we do different suits? Actually, Frank, you say that.
What do you mean suits?
We did. Say again.
He said suits. What do you mean suits?
X-Men suits. I'm assuming he means costumes for X-Men. We did, if you remember, Phil. We were going to try and do the Wolverine mask.
No, we didn't.
No, we were. No, you don't remember. We were.
No,
we were going to do when they go on their covert mission. We were going to give him the black mask because Wolverine has a black suit with the black. It wasn't going to be
Okay,
crazy big, but we
right.
were going to.
But that's because it had a function. It was like kind of like
Yes.
to shield his eyes and, from the
Yes.
desert for the storms. Yeah. I said
Yes.
no to the South
Oh,
Park
Frank said
mouse.
no to the South Park mouse. Maybe Frank is like watching it and catching up or something.
Oh, okay. Well, he's gonna hear our answer later then. What else are we
Wait,
gonna do?
is my stream behind?
Okay. I'd
Frank,
assume
I don't know
so.
what point in time you're in. Space-time continuum
I don't
is
know.
all over the map here. Because, I don't know, dude. Let's say, does it come up?
All right.
I'm gonna ask him. Oops. Wait. Caught up. Okay, he's just caught up now. Okay, you've caught up, Frank. Way to go. Way to go. We're just about to wrap up. We were just saying next week we'll be back talking
Yeah.
about some Marvel stuff, some mutant stuff,
Yeah.
and other things that crop up throughout the week
Yeah.
on my channel that for the time being is called the Luke Deckard Show, but will probably change, but I don't know what it will change to at the moment.
I don't know. We'll figure
So,
it out as we go along.
I need a better name, but that's all I got for now.
But no, I like this. This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a nice little chat. Nice little
We'll
chat.
have some wine.
Some wine. Don't
Leave me.
don't leave me.
Sorry, well, ask us some questions, Frank,
Ask
and we
us
won't
some
leave
questions.
for
We
4
won't
minutes.
leave. Yeah, exactly. The audience eventually is the one that leaves and keeps us here. That keeps
Frank,
us
it's
current.
Domino doing a jig.
I'm just still stuck on the fact that like when people display ideas like this,
Mm.
and then other people say that was lame. Fair. But it's a movie, and if you know anything about movies is that if it gets developed, you develop it further, and things change.
Frank wants a Nice Guys sequel pitch. Frank, I thought you were meant to be doing that for one of your videos, and I was very excited about this.
I never watched The Nice Guy. No, I've
Oh,
never
have
seen it.
you?
I've not seen The Nice Guys.
Oh.
I've seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which was good.
We need to watch Nice Guys then, because it is so fun. So fun. What would I do for a sequel for Nice Guys? Well, I've never seen Tango and Cash with a hint
You mean
of
Last Tango in Paris, or
Never seen any of that. Um,
and is Crash?
Boy, what would I do?
Is Crash the Cronenberg one, or is it the
Don't know. Don't know.
Oscar one, the one that won Oscars because it was about race?
Mm.
Have you watched that one? Have you watched Crash? Yeah, it wasn't very
No.
good, actually.
What I'm trying to think. What would I do for a sequel? I mean, I like the idea that they're like a duo. I think I would want to do something a bit sort of in a not annoying way, a bit sort of meta. In that it would be fun to give them some sort of Maltese Falcon like
Ooh,
adventure.
that's fun. Yeah, like with
Where
a MacGuffin.
Yeah, I would want them kind of going after a MacGuffin, and there being a lot of different people interested in this MacGuffin, a lot of backstabbing, and a lot of that would get a lot of personal threats going their way.
Right.
What that MacGuffin would be, I'm not sure. But yeah.
I wanted it. No, I can't interrupt you. Come on, go on. Sorry.
What year was Nice Guys set? It was the 70s. I would almost want to put it in 1980. Just
like
just
at 1980.
Yes, just at 1980. Because I think that'd be an interesting kind of time in pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I would do a spin on like a Maltese Falcon sort of situation. That maybe involves March's daughter, as well. It took place in 1977. Okay, I would move it up to 1980. I think that would be a good time to place the sequel. Maybe 1981, if it was 1977.
That sounds good. I have this. I can't engage because I haven't seen the first one, so you're on your own there. But I just wanted to mention Pathfinder. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very, very much. I'm glad it still works. I mean, Tolkien is a good writer. What can I say? That's all I'm gonna say.
Tolkien is a great writer. Yeah, 1980 would be, I think, would be a really good year. Um,
Very good year.
there's a
Almost
part
as
of me
old
that's
as
like,
I
oh,
am.
I'm also thinking of like locations, and I'm like, the first one was so Los Angeles that it would be sort of fun to. It was so Los Angeles, but like, yeah, I would like to see something a little bit different, kind of a different side of Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
um, to the one that we saw. Um, yeah. Okay, he's asking you, Coach Phil, what are you working
I
on
mean, look, all
currently?
those ideas are perfect starting points.
Yes, I would to literally come up with like an
And I
actual
didn't
like
even see
solid.
the movie, so it sounds good to me.
Yeah, no, to come up with an actual solid like plot idea would take me. I'm not that fast with stuff, but I think there would be a stolen artifact. Someone wants it, but there's a lot of deception
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that is steering both of them in different directions, and causing grief and problems.
Right. I think that sounds good.
For them.
See, this is good.
Yeah.
I love this stuff. Okay, so Chief Brody Rolves asks, "What are you working on currently for art?" Well, it's funny because yesterday I was talking to my friend. Her name's Piper. She's a pretty prolific artist. No doubt you've seen some of her work somewhere because she's fairly popular. You know, she's doing well for herself, and she's a very good friend. And she said, "You know what, Philip? Just if you're just like kind of struggling with like not struggling per se, but like wish you could make a little more money, just design a card deck. Just do like a card deck, like a 52 piece card deck." And then she just as a joke said, "Just do it with hot anime girls." And I'm like, I guess I could do that. So I thought medieval, and I was like, I'll do like different time period dresses, but with anime girls, and it's a card deck. So I was thinking about that today, and that's about it because she
I like
just
that.
asked me that yesterday. It'll be fun to look at, like just look at costumes and stuff. So you took a
Right.
break from my movie pitch video because some people think they're real and you. Well, that's
Now he
called.
wants to talk, now he wants me to talk about Top Gun. That's a reference to my TikTok video
Oh, really?
where I was saying that I love talking about Top Gun. I do. I was listening to the music today. I love the music.
Thanks,
I
Chief
love that
Brody
movie.
Rolls.
I had to laugh. Oh, okay. I will say one thing about Top Gun that made me laugh. I feel like I shared this with you. This would be the kind of stuff that we will talk about, and I'll make
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
of.
This is our good.
I'm not being mean or angry. I just find things funny. And Reese Witherspoon who was saying Legally with Top Gun Maverick inspired Legally Blonde 2. And I'm like, in what way? How in the world does Top Gun Maverick remotely inspire Legally Blonde 2? Like, on a very, very basic level, you have two old actors returning to their old roles at an old point in time. And how do you make them cool and relevant still? But it's like at the end of the day, what you're really saying, Reese, is Top Gun Maverick had really solid storytelling, and that's what people responded to, and
Yeah,
that's what we're getting inspired by. And it's like, well, what else should you be inspired by? Like that to me was just hilarious.
yeah. It
Uh,
didn't make any. What? This is boring news. Boring news. Get away.
oh,
Tway with it.
Claire said it's 2, not 3. I don't know. Whichever Legally Blonde they're working on at the
She's
moment.
reaching. That's it, Pathfinder. She's reaching, man. She's reaching.
She
Yo,
is.
you reaching, man.
Frank asks Luke, explain your TikTok.
I'm
What's
boiling.
your
And I'm
goal
ready.
with that?
I'm ready to call it quits. Honestly, I'm ready to finish this.
No, okay. Encourage Phil to do TikTok because I am literally just on it for laugh. I'm doing slightly bookish, story-ish. Where are you going, Phil? a slightly, yeah, storytelling, bookish related things, but using like the comedy, what I think is funny comedy stuff, um, to kind of make
It's
my
good.
points.
It's entertaining. I am always entertained.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna stick more with the entertaining side. I don't really want to like be offering like writing advice or things like that. I feel like there's enough of those. I'd
Sure.
I'd rather just make silly videos that vaguely pertain to my career as a writer.
I think that's great.
So
I
everyone
like
should
it.
follow my and like my
What is it?
videos
Luke
and
Deckard?
comment.
Or Luke writes crime. Luke
Yeah,
writes crime.
my Twitter, my Instagram, and my TikTok are all Luke Writes Crime. Um, so go follow. But I think even if you don't use it, Franklin, I think you should just get it so that you can like all my videos. Shameless. I am shameless about my TikTok. I don't give a shit. I like every time I post, I'm
Go
like,
big or go
Phil,
home. I know he does this every time. Every time.
Phil, go like my TikTok. And I'll go to Claire. Claire,
And I do,
go like my TikTok.
being the good friend that I am.
And I'm like, I'm shameless because I'm like, look, I know the algorithm is based on likes and comments. So the more likes and comments you get, the wider it goes. You know?
Here are
And
some
some
of
of
my
them
drawings that are on pencil. See, it's rare that I have
really,
pencil drawings.
but now give Phil advice, Frank and Path and anyone else who's there about what he should do
Here's Metal Gear Rex. It's just that you can't see it
on
very
TikTok.
well.
It's confusing because of the actual
Right.
color of the
Yeah, I keep
filter.
trying to do it, but I just get intimidated by having a bad idea because I'm not very good at ideas. Anime girls, yeah, but like, it just feels like a low hanging fruit, you know. The silence is definitely
Well, I thought you were gonna say something about anime girls, but yeah,
yeah,
there we
I
go.
said it's a low hanging fruit.
Are you talking about their food?
Oh no, that wasn't a pun. No, that was just I don't know, like I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm sweating. I can't. I hate this. Handsome guy stuff. Then
Phil should do handsome guy stuff.
like when Aladdin's
Like when
a
Aladdin is describing Jasmine's I'm typing.
Oh, with the voice. Yeah, but everyone's doing voice stuff. Like,
Yeah, but the
this is
thing
my
is, like,
problem.
that could still get you big though. You say something funny, people use that audio, bada bing, bada boom.
Handsome guy stuff.
So like the belching thing you did the other day, probably not what you should do.
Oh, but I love that. It was subversive.
It was subversive. It was just like The Last Jedi. Exactly.
Okay, I'll think about it. I just don't like being part of. I don't like being put into that. You know, I don't like being put into the egg case of the same. Like, you know. I just.
You're not.
I feel like I'm
You're
betraying
not in a no egg case.
Okay.
It's not like I'm drunk.
Yeah, you do sound like you're drunk. I think
You're
we
not
need
in
to call it
no
quits.
egg
We had a
case.
great time talking about X-Men.
Yes.
It left my soul once again, and I don't have to talk about it for years and years to come.
Same.
So it's good.
Because I've been dying. Those are the two things I've been dying to talk about for years.
Okay, I'll do it for you, Chief Brody Rules. Just seem right. I can't remember what he says. Like, he's just like, she's got those eyes and the hair, and she's pretty and beautiful.
Here you go. Honestly, if you did shit like that, people would like it. People would get into it. Just do it. Just do it. And then you can tell me when you post it, and I'll go like your shit.
Yeah, become a guerrilla artist. Pop art overnight like Banksy.
I'm smashed on sparkling water and cold coffee.
Yeah. And that's the end of that. I don't know what else. Like
That's the
let's just call it quits. Thanks so much, Chief Brody Rules, for being here. Thank you so much, Pathfinder, for sticking it out even though you came pretty late, but that's all right. That's all good.
And the others, Christy Joe.
Yeah,
and,
Christy Joe, like
Todd or whatever his name was. What's your name? What was it?
Turloch.
Turlock.
I know that because we talked once on like,
Yes.
and he said you spell it Turloch. Yeah,
And
Luke
I will get
needs-
more Baby
Yeah,
Yodas
you need to
in
do
time.
more Baby Yodas. It's funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
We only kept going because you were here, Frank,
Yeah,
and you
dude.
said don't leave us.
Dude, I am so like after talking about these two movies, I'm just like
Yes.
I want a story. I don't care if it's simple. I'm so sick of this teenager mentality of being like, oh, it has to be complex and it has to be this and it has to be subversive and it has to be... I don't care. I just want to tell a nice story that makes sense. I just want a little short film to make, and then I want to move on and make more.
Exactly.
Is that so hard?
We will. Thank you, Path. Thanks for never missing
Thank
a
you.
live stream.
And Twofold podcast will come back, I think, but Tim is busy and I haven't heard from him like literally in like 2 weeks. I don't know where he is. He just responds in our
day.
group chat with me and Jake.
One day.
One day.
Anyway, guys.
Anyway,
Have a good night.
if only there was something I could put that I could be like, oh, goodbye. I guess I have the ending scene, but that's from that's from mine. Thanks for being here. I guess I'll just put that at the end. Okay, so we don't have a camera on anymore. It's just the title saying thanks for being here, and that's it. So and there's like a little URL for my donation page.
Oh, good. Oh, wait. Which donation page?
Ko-fi.com.
Is that like current? Like you're currently using that, or is that like
no? It's
okay?
current.
That's,
Yeah. Good
I
night,
thought it was
guys.
like an old thing or something like that. Yeah. Well, that's all right. Get your Ko-fi.
Phil is in
Get your
Luke's.
coat.
Yeah, that's what Chief Brody said. Phil is in Luke's pool and Tim is upset. See, I told you this is gonna happen, Luke. This is gonna happen.
No, Frank is just poking to be Frankie.
I love that about Frank. I love it. I love you,
Yeah.
Frank.
Can you still hear us, Frank? Are we,
Yeah. We're
are-
still just voices now. That's all we are.
Oh, we're just disembodied voices.
Yeah.
Disembodied voices.
I can
Yes,
mute you
but
whenever I want. I have that power.
it's a good thing I didn't say anything bad about anyone.
Yeah. It is.
Lol.
All right.
I'm kidding.
I'm
but
done.
no, Phil he's fine. And Tim, he's fine.
I'm ending
Everyone's
the stream.
fine.
Is that okay?
We're all fine.
Chief Brody says
We love you too, Chief Brody Rules.
LMAO. Bye bye. The end.